Welcome, misfits, to our Skeptic Bible Study episode.
Sir, Bible study.
Sir, lost and
Bible
found.
study.
Tonight, God tells Moses what to do if a neighbor finds something we own and lies about it. We then break into some fun with a bunch of more fun offerings to the big G-Man himself. The YouTuber? I think so.
Arn Ra.
Yeah, exactly. So come join us as we get our Leviticus on. And all right, I want to thank everyone out there for joining us on the inner tubes.
Thanks, guys.
If you're feeling fancy, don't forget to like, follow, or subscribe and hit that all button icon so you can get reminders to see our premieres or join our live streams. And with that, I just want to make a quick speech to an elephant in the room. If you know, you know. I consider myself the cuddly side of politically incorrect. What I mean by that is that I say whatever is on my mind, and most of the time it's that I love everyone around me. However, the other thing I like about saying what's on my mind is that the slang language I use, more often than not, is fair. A redneck was someone who would work in the field and get a redneck. I call myself a retarded tranny because I am a proud transgender woman who survived special ed to become an academic. However, not all slang words are created equal. Instead, some are used to demean, belittle, and ultimately demoralize a population. When this happens, we're either going to take a stand or we're not. This is the skeptic community, and we are all brothers and sisters in the fight against malice superstition. Hopefully, we will continue to raise each other up one word at a time. Thank you.
Well, that was a good speech. I'm not really going to add much to it, Amy, but just ask that everybody we have more of an open format than a lot of other platforms out there, and that gives us some advantages. It also does come with some risks that at times things can get a little out of control. Things can get a little kind of run away from us pretty quick and hard to get back in line, but we do want to be a welcoming platform. We do want to allow everybody to say what's on their mind, and generally, almost always, that ends up working out well for us. And we love everybody. We want everybody to be here in the atheist community. We even want to be friends with theists too, because most of them are decent people, and we just want to show them why they're wrong and we're right. And at the end of the day, we may have to agree to disagree on a few things, but it doesn't have to be done in a malicious or an overtly hostile way. A lot of work does go into producing these broadcasts. Not just the time that we put coming on and talking with you guys and doing all this, but especially Amy, does a lot of work behind the scenes to try to make these programs the best that she can make them, try to make everything look professional and look right. And it does take a lot of time, but she does it because she loves it. So just when you come on here, try to keep that in mind and respect the platform and the work that she's put into it, and that she really loves everybody. And I love you guys too. Thank you.
Woohoo! Thank you so very much, James. And okay, with that, we are going to hand it over to Gilbert so he can explain what we're about to read.
Some of you may be new to this abomination of a study. These schmucks begin by reading each episode's chapters along with the annotations on the side for funsies. The hosts are a tiny bit special, so don't mind if they butcher or replace everybody's name with something completely horrible or stupid. However, the gibberish that spews forth from their face holes will still be an attempt at reading this book from cover to cover, which I'm sure has tons of wisdom or an insight on whether we can or cannot put things up our butt. If you have time to waste screaming internet memes at random strangers, then join the Discord. Or scream at them personally at your YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch streams. Finally, don't forget to support these idiots doing more lame shenanigans at Amy Newman's Patreon page. All right, schmucks, back to you.
Thanks, Gilbert. Amy, you're on mute.
Woohoo! It's a double tap
She knew
again.
it.
Those silly zombies. Thanks, Gilbert. That's right. You can find our Patreon page at patreon.com/Amy Newman, which helps us make even more content, including awesome Patreons like K.O. Champ, but also Oz from the Atheist Round Table, which has now become the Atheist Network Group. I just like saying tart and tang.
Tangy,
also,
but still round.
Tangy.
Oz, if we could just get him to stop being a flat earther, he would be fine, right?
Exactly. Sending love to both Oz and also Ian Davenport.
Thank you, Ian.
You so much, Ian. Mwah. But also, oh my gosh, holy moly, it's a grumpy old. Did they put that? They got that? Oh, I'll say it again.
They'll censor it out. They'll censor it out.
Oh, these damn censors.
Yeah, they'll censor it. Yeah. Politically correct too.
Those darn YouTubes. Diana, thank you so much, Diana Smith. Woohoo! It's like my voice has to go on a roller coaster. That's how it works. But also, I need where's my little bibble? I only have this. Pat, I'm opening up the Bible and we are having an awesome biblical criticism. Thank you so much, Pat.
And Pat's going to tell you why it's bullshit.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. But in a nice way, in a nice academic way.
Yes, absolutely.
But we have 3 brand new. I want to say thank you to Dale Pastel, Dave Gar, and Scott Duke. Thank you so very much, guys.
Thank you, Scott, Dave Gar, and Dave.
So send in love. And to all three of you guys. And during our live stream, I try to greet everyone and read funny comments. But if you'd like your specific thought bubbles read on screen, feel free to tag me in chat at Amy Newman. And okay, let's
Feel free to tag her off, chat.
Exactly. And with that, let's see the annotation categories that we're about to read. Before we begin, I'm going to start by going over the specific Bible we'll be reading, along with some helpful category marks. Categories, you say? Why, yes, I do. You see, we're going to be reading from the Skeptic's Annotated Bible, an entire King James Bible lovingly fawned over by a skeptic who decided he would add his own notations. These are little flagpoles of sanity put in use to remind us that, hey, maybe slavery is evil, including categories like absurdity, injustice, and cruelty, but also a good amount of intolerance, contradictions, and conflicts with science or history. That doesn't mean it's not packed full of misogyny, false prophecy, and some questionable biblical family values. Now, we won't skip the good parts that the Bible has, only that these passages seem far fewer in number than any priest or pastor seems to suggest. So without further ado, won't you come join the Skeptic crew?
Well, woohoo! You're on mute still, Amy?
I keep on doing that. And okay.
And we are gonna Leviticus this down tonight. We are gonna Leviticus all night long.
All night long.
Leviticus
With that,
the night away.
welcome everyone to our Skeptic Bible study. On the previous episode, Ignorant Sinners, we had some deliciously sinful ignorance and laws about being unclean or guilty. In this episode, Lost and Found, tonight God tells Moses what to do if a neighbor finds something we own and lies about it. We then break into some fun with a bunch of more offerings to the big G man. And with
more
that,
sweet savory offerings.
Exactly. So with that, I think this was your word of the night, James. You created it. Are you ready to get your Leviticus on?
I am ready for it. You know, I would I would rather not rip the heads off pigeons and spray the blood around an altar, but that's apparently what God's idea of a good time. So.
Oh, and I just want to say, heart you, Oz.
Oh, we love you, Oz.
Woo-hoo.
No, you're a great guy, Oz. We love you.
And that is probably because they have been streaming awesome streams off of Tang. I just got done, I think was it Pasta's stream? They were just running something awesome over there.
They are always running
out.
something amazing on Tart or Tang, whatever you want to call it. Tangy, tarty. It's always good.
Exactly. As long as you mix it up before you drink, that's as long as you do that, you're good. And okay.
What is that first icon I see? Oh.
That's right. We need to break into our first three icons.
We haven't seen that in a while.
Am I hallucinating, James?
You may be having a flashback from last time. From your DMJ days, sir. DMU.
I can't believe it. I can't believe it. There may be good stuff in the Bible.
I mean, once in a while.
Happening?
The prepositions and things like that are usually not too bad, but you know, the articles, that's usually pretty safe, but
and I just want to say, actually, and welcome Haley and Oz. I sound so nerdy when I say, but it's true. Oz is our brother from another mother.
He's been with us since the beginning. He's been right there with us, yeah.
And okay, we are moving on into the second category. Okay, sure, it's funny. Or I'm sorry, I gave my punchline away.
You already
Sure, they have good stuff, but it's also kind of funny. If you got to admit it. You got to admit it's kind of funny. We're playing Lost and Found with a god, so it's just kind of built into it. But oh my, it's our favorite category, I think. I mean, only next to sex does it come off as often. Violence.
Somebody's gonna get it. Somebody's gonna die.
Exactly. It wouldn't be biblical. And all right, with that, we are knee deep into book 3 of the Bible, chapter 6 of the book of Leviticus, Lost and Found. Let us begin. And the Lord Bob spake to where's Charlie?
He's with his brother.
Spoke to Charlatan Heston, saying, if a soul sin, sounds kind of kinky, and commit trespass. Hold on. Someone commit trespass. Here we go. Against the Lord, Bob, and lie onto his neighbor. Kinky, but I guess they mean the other kind of lie. Okay, fine. Yeah. In that which was delivered him to keep, or in fellowship of the rings, or in a thing taken away by violence.
Oh, so a robbery.
Yeah. Or have deceived his neighbor. Okay, so it's kind of like we're in Skyrim, and okay, gotcha. Or have found that which was lost, and left concerning it, and sweareth falsely in any of these that a man doeth, sitting therein. Then it shall be, because he hath sinned and is guilty, that he shall restore that which he took violently away, or the thing which he hath deceitfully gotten, or that which has delivered him to keep, or the lost thing which has... Oh, we found it. That's good. Or all that which he had sworn falsely. He shall even restore it in principle, and shall add the 5th part more thereto, and give it unto him, to whom it apparenteth in the day of his trespass offering. Wow, that was a mouthful. So God said to Moses, if a man lies to his neighbor, or found something that was lost and lies about it, then he must return what was lost to the owner, plus 20%, baby.
Yeah.
Damn.
Go ahead. Find my lost things. Go ahead. Keep it. I'll make more money.
I mean, this is assuming you catch them, right? This is how this works, or they admit to it. I'm trying to wrap my head around this.
And you would probably need 2 witnesses, because it does say later on that you need 2 witnesses to establish something. I don't know if that applies to everything. I guess we'll find out.
This is like a best case scenario, I feel. Maybe right. I'm reading this wrong. Hi, Pasta, love you too.
Hey, Pasta Mike.
And
so, like, Amy, like, remember that time I came over and I pulled out the knife and I robbed you? I feel really bad about it, so I'm going to give you back everything I took from you, plus 20%. Here you go. Thank you. I'm sorry. I apologize. Bye-bye.
Exactly. Because it's in the Bible. He's going to go up. It's in the Bible. I guess I got to do it.
Or God will be mad. God will be sad with me. And then to really make it better, I need to go to the temple and rip the head off a pigeon and sprinkle the blood around, because that will make God not be mad at me anymore.
Exactly. Though for what, yeah, because that makes sense and is, yeah. But for what it's worth, once again, where is it? I want to point it out every time we can. Where's my little thumbs up? If not, I'll just do it. I mean, it does sound better than everything we've been talking about. So we're going to I'll give the Bible credit where it's due, even though I don't know how the Bible enforces this.
In principle, it's better than taking the guy and throwing him into a volcano, but
yes, or cutting hands off. Though I haven't read the Quran, so I'm not up there to really criticize.
we'll get there in the
I
Bible
don't really
too.
know it.
We'll get there in the Bible
really?
too.
Does that
Yeah.
have that in the Bible too?
Mhm.
Oh, wonderful. Biblical
Yeah,
justice,
don't worry.
baby.
It's coming up.
Don't worry. I know. Though I'll tell you, the more I talk to Jews, Christians, and Muslims, the more they all have the exact same arguments. It's kind of funny. Ba-da-ba-ba. Hi,
Number 5.
Skywatcher.
Hey,
And
Sky.
all right, number 5. With that pigeon reference, is James subtly hinting that he wants to play chess? Maybe. I think it's God saying that he's playing checkers with all of us.
We're playing chess. God is playing checkers.
Yeah. And okay, you said 5 or all that about which he hath. Oh wow. We're getting into real or all
Shakespearean, yeah.
yes, very Shakespearean. Or all that about which he hath sworn falsely, he shall even restore it in principle, and shall add the 5th part more thereto, and give it unto him to whom it be apparent in the day of his trespass offering. And he shall bring his trespass offering unto the Lord. Bob, a ram.
With or without? With or without, Amy?
Without that damn blemish.
No blemish? Okay.
No blemish. Out of the flock with thy estimation for a trespass offering onto the priest class. And the priest class, yeah, probably R and Ra, shall make an atonement for him before the Lord, Bob. And it shall be forgiven him for anything of all that he have done in trespassing therein. Then he must sacrifice an unblemished ram to me. The priest will make an atonement for him, and I'll forgive him. So a priest has to die? Or a priest has to die. A ram has to die because some guy stole something and returned it? Is that how this works?
Yeah. That doesn't make sense to you?
Yeah, no, it's all starting to, the science is just pouring through. Amaretto says, ripped the head off a bird. So Ozzy Osbourne was trying to make amends to God when he did that in front of the music possessed. Yes. Who knew that Ozzy Osbourne was being biblical? See, it's all making sense now.
He was doing a rabbinic sacrifice.
Exactly. That's right, everyone. The go-to answer. Oh, I have so many fun prompts that I have. I don't know where my wand is, but it's pew, pew, the go-to answer.
You know where your wand is, Amy. Come on.
Oh, baby, do I. Hold on 1 second. Let me I wanted to get, I have a good pipe in here. All right, I'm ready. We're ready.
A pipe?
Got the whole crew. I got both my height from studying. I got my glass to make sure. And I have magic to make sure that all this shit comes true, apparently.
Science still scratching their head, but the rabbis and pastors have been there all along.
But, James, abiogenesis or some shit. All right?
It's impossible. It's impossible. It could never happen. Never happen. All that complexities. I mean, infinite energy to start off with.
How do you
where you
not
get
know
energy
that
from?
Exactly.
Yeah.
How do you know?
How do you know there's even a vat? Maybe we're brains inside of brains.
Exactly. Hi, Nick.
Hey, Nick.
We're learning some science, I think. Somewhere in there, probably.
But what if you put two brains in a vat and then put those inside of another brain? I mean,
what if my brain in the vat is an ultimate? Can that be okay? Okay.
Darth would not go for that. No, he would not. That's not fundamental because it has to have agency to be fundamental. Yeah.
It's a fundamental vat.
Yeah. No. Oh, Tangelo pulling his hair out somewhere.
And okay, did we read 7? Trespass within. All right, we're moving along. The burnt offering. Oh boy. So only a peanut butter and chocolate mix. We're laughing, as you gotta keep on doing, ladies and gentlemen. But as is, like I said, very common. Stabba stabba, a stabba stabba stabba. God violence, more violence. The burnt
people always
offering.
doing stuff. It's not God's fault. People always doing stuff that makes them want to kill people.
The Bible isn't violent. They made the Bible do it. They had it coming.
God didn't want to do all this. He just wanted everybody to have IQs of 12 and frolicking in a garden, not know anything.
I know. It had that damn Adam and Eve and the tree and all that and the
that
fruit.
Stupid fucking snake.
It's amazing that a snake could even outsmart the all-powerful, all-knowing creator of the universe.
We didn't outsmart him.
To begin with.
But he didn't outsmart him. He exploited a loophole.
That's true.
That God knew was going to happen, but he couldn't interfere because of free will, something maybe, I don't know. It's all philosophical.
Exactly. It's all right here. Right here,
Talk to
baby.
Darth. And
no, you can't actually smoke anything with this pipe, but I like to think that actually this is Randolph. I'm like, do I want to make the risque joke? I'll take him off. There we go. No, but I can attempt to shove this somewhere and try and make bubbles anyway. But
would it work?
No, but I'd like to try. Keep on trying.
But you would
just
try
like
really hard.
The same. I don't even know if this is my joke. I feel like I heard this somewhere. Like, I can't get pregnant, but I keep on trying. All right. We're back to our favorite friend and the Lord Bob Spack on to Charlton Heston. He's like, ew, okay, but I guess whatever. Saying, command Aaron Ra and his sons. Saying, okay, what the hell? Why is the Bible telling us it's saying? All right, whatever. Saying, this is the law of the burnt offering. Ah, sounds good.
Another law?
It is.
I thought we've already got that law.
Another law. You know it's going to be family friendly when we're going to burn something for a sacrifice. Burnt offering because of the burning upon the altar all night unto the morning. We're going to party all night into the morning. Wait, what? We're not partying? We're burning something on an altar? Oh.
In girdles and bonnets. Thank you very much. You got to have the uniform with your stones on there and your bells and your pomegranate. Not a party at all.
If you say so.
Do you have a pomegranate? Oh, you got the rock.
Do
you
I
got
have
grandpa.
a pomegranate? No, I do need a good old palm juice. Good old palm.
Sponsored by the Bible.
Sponsored by the Bible. Wait. It's going to make a joke, but then I got it mixed up. So it is a burnt offering because of the burnt offering unto. All right, I read that. And the priest shall put on his linen garment. You were right. And his linen breeches shall he put upon his flesh, and take up the ashes which the fire hath consumed with the burnt offering on the altar, which is totally not creepy. And he shall put them beside the altar. Totally a thing that we do now. And he shall put off his garments, and put on other garments. Okay. And carry forth the ashes without the camp onto a clean place. God said to Moses, this is the law of the burnt offering. I like how they're like putting a title on it. The priest will put on his linen breeches and put the ashes of the burnt offering beside the altar. And then we're at 12. And the fire upon the altar shall be burning it. It shall not be put out. And the priest class shall burn wood. It happens
Shittim wood
sometime
or
in the
any
morning.
wood?
Probably shittim wood. Or, like I said, sometimes you got testosterone going through you. It happens on it every morning. See? And lay the burnt offering in order upon it, and he shall burn thereon the fat by working out really hard and not being fat Thor of the peace offerings. The fire shall ever be burning upon the altar. Once again, we're not a cult. We're just talking about burning things on altars. It shall never go out.
Never, ever?
Never.
So
ever,
it's still presumably
ever.
burning today?
Still burning today.
Okay.
Yep.
Makes
100%.
sense.
Makes sense. He will burn wood on the altar every morning. Every morning.
Because if it says that it's still burning today, I mean, if you can use this book to date the universe, right? Or the earth anyway, at least, and it says that it's still burning, it should still be burning, right?
Technically. I mean, it's biblical, right?
Yeah.
And okay, the peace offerings and the fire of the altar shall never go out.
Now it's
Okay.
come to your offering.
Oh, baby. Whew. All right. Another peanut butter chocolate mix. We got to laugh so we don't cry. A little bit of both probably. That's okay. But hey, if you're not, we'll poke you until you are. Poka with more violence.
Yeah. Once you're dead, you won't be complaining about anything, we promise.
Exactly. And if you just joined us, we are Skeptic Bible Studying. We are reading Leviticus chapter 6. We are now on the meat offering. And this is the law of the meat offering. Thank you for the titles. The sons of Aaron Ra, who don't have names. They have been like name checked as Aaron Ra's sons multiple times. Shall offer it.
Not important.
They're not important. They'll be fine. They get a paycheck. They don't get a paycheck. They'll be fine. It before the Lord, Bob, before the altar. And he shall take of it his handful, of the flour of the meat offering. That is a weird sentence. And of the oil thereof, and all of the frankenfurter, which is upon the meat offering, and shall burn it upon the altar for, it's kind of like sweet and tangy, even the memorial of it unto the Lord, Bob. God said to Moses, this is the law of the meat offering. God is having one-on-one personal conversations with people quite often. Aaron's sons shall take a handful of flour, some oil and frankincense, and the meat offering, and burn it on the altar for a sweet savor to me.
Sounds like a great Saturday night, huh?
Yes, it really does. And okay. And the remainder thereof shall Aaron and his sons eat. With what kind of bread do you think it was, James?
Whiter wheat, maybe a nice Italian bread, a baguette, French bread.
It better not be frickin' unleavened bread. Let me tell you that much. With unleavened bread shall it be eaten in the holy place. That sounds kind of kinky. In the court of the tabernacle, that's our tent of worship, of the congregation, they shall eat it. It shall not be bacon with leaven, or I'm going to frickin' stab your face. I have given it unto them with their portion of my offerings. Made it by fire. It is most holy, as is the sin offering and as the trespass offering. All the males Always a good sentence to start with. Among the children of Aaron Ra shall eat of it. It shall
Oh
be
boy.
a statue forever. Kind of like in Doctor Who, but a little bit less cool. In your generation.
Like a teepee.
Yes, like a teepee.
A statue. Like a teepee. Like an
Or like
obelisk.
like what are they called in Doctor Who? Whispering angels? Weeping angels? There we go.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
Yeah, they're like boos from Mario. If you stare at them, they can't attack you. Or like what the hell is that SCP? Like that SCP, the Cry Guy. All the
How to
male.
anoint priests.
How to anoint priests. Let me tell you. Did I finish the sentence? Hold on. I
thought you did, but you can redo it. Yeah.
No, I think it's. I think I'm halfway. In your generations, concerning the offerings of the Lord, Bob, made by fire and brimstone, every one that toucheth me shall be holy. If you get what I'm talking about, all of Aaron's sons will eat it. Eat it.
Open up
It
your
is a
mouth and eat it.
statue forever. I'm gonna sneeze and cough.
Eat it.
However, eat it. Whoever touches them is holy. That is kind of weird, but okay.
Hey.
It's like
You
out of
could-
a video
you could
game or a
still,
movie.
Tell people to just touch it for like, and then they would be holy after that.
I
Touch
feel
it.
like I've been doing that for years, but I didn't know it was biblical. All right.
Well, now you know.
Now I know.
Praise
How
God.
to anoint priests. Praise not yet Jeebus, but that Yahweh guy. How to anoint priests. Ooh. And it's just a single serving right now. Just a single serving. You gotta laugh.
It's nice
'Cause
and
why
light.
not?
It's only like 4 verses, so yeah. 5, but
That's
they're
right.
short.
Unleavened grapes. Oh, it says unleavened gap. I thought this said unleavened grapes.
Apes
I like
the fist
both.
fruits.
Okay.
with the fist fruits.
Gotta love a good fist fruit. How to anoint priests. And the Lord Bob spak unto Moses, as he kind of does a lot, saying,
Say it,
this
don't
is the
spray it, God.
offering. Ugh, God, I'm like right here, and you're technically everywhere. Just don't shout.
In your rectum, I am.
That's why you need the fist fruits. This is the offering of Aaron Ra and his sons, who don't have names, kind of like the Pharaoh, which they shall offer unto the Lord Bob in the day when he is anointed, the 10th part of an ephod of fine flour for a meat offering, if you know what I mean, perpetual, half of it in the morning and half of it thereof at night. Ooh, you're getting
Oh, wow.
2 scoops of meat.
2 servings.
That's right.
He wants it
Don't-
in the morning and at night.
don't
He
blink.
can't get enough of it.
Can't get enough of it. In a pan. I'm ready for it. I'm ready, Bibble. We got this. It shall be made with oil. Where do I have?
I don't have oil. Is there any other kind of liquid we can use?
All right. We get there. Okay, what are we doing? And when it is bacon, happy 420, thou shalt bring it in, oh baby, and the bacon pieces of the meat offering, this really does sound like we're cooking, shall thou offer for a sweet and savor. I would accept barbecue, but I kind of want sweet and sour, unto the Lord Bob. And the priest of his sons that is anointed in his stead shall offer it. It is a statue forever, as opposed to like other statues that I guess just whittle. I don't know. Unto the Lord Bob. It shall be wholly burnt, not half burnt, Not a little bit burnt, wholly burnt.
Oh,
For
so it's saying statute, not a statue. Like a statute,
oh
like a
really?
law. Yeah. But statue works even better. There you go. Just keep saying statue.
Once again, I go back to sometimes it's me. Sometimes it's me. For every meat offering for the priest shall be wholly burnt. It shall not be eaten. God said to Moses, when Aaron and his sons are anointed, they shall offer a tenth of ephah of the flour for a meat offering, half in the morning, half at night. It will be baked in a pan with oil and a sweet savor to me. The priest will offer it as a statue forever. It shall be completely burnt like your mother likes it for you. God.
Well done.
Well done. And it will not be eaten.
Well, I wouldn't eat it well done either.
I understand. The sin offering.
Ooh. From
We're
meat to
back
sin.
from meat to sin, as I often do.
These chapters in Leviticus all sound very similar.
How many offerings does this dude need?
But they're all the same almost. The variations are very slight.
Yeah, it's like at a certain point, it's like, God, we get it. You're awesome. You love yourself. We love you. Any more?
Rams,
We think
burnt flesh, rams, pigeons.
at a certain point, we kind of all got together and we kind of decided that you need to see someone, God. We think that you might be a narcissist. The sin offering, good helpings of send those emojis so we can cast out those demons.
At
but
the
also
commander level.
At the commander girl dick level, but also do stab those things with violence.
What else you gotta do stab them with?
What
Stab them
else
with
you
love?
stab them with? Can't stab him with love. God seems like love. You can tell by how many people he kills. I'm sorry, other animals. Though he kills lots of people too, if I'm being honest.
Oh, I mean, they deserve it, so it's all right.
They deserve it. They had it coming.
All those kids, all the babies in the flood, and even the babies in Sodom and Gomorrah, they were all evil.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, were there babies in Sodom? Because all the guys there were gay, so would there be any babies? How would they repopulate the city?
Clones, probably.
Oh, would the devil like clone them?
Yes.
Maybe?
If you just don't think about it, it all makes sense.
Ah.
And okay, let's bring us into the last section of this chapter, the sin offering of Leviticus chapter 6. And the Lord, Bob, spake unto Moses is this Groundhog Day? Saying, speak unto Aaron Ra and to his sons, saying, this is the law of the sin offering. In the place,
like the meat offering. The trespass offering. Okay.
So many offerings. No, I love it, God. I love it. I love giving you offerings. In the place where the burnt offering is killed. We are literally putting offerings on top of offerings now. Shall the sin offering be killed before the Lord? It is most holy. Oh, I'm glad.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful.
The priest class that offer it for sin shall eat it. Whoa. In the holy place shall it be eaten. In the court of the tabernacle of the congregation.
It's a barbecue.
But isn't it a barbecue on top of another? Okay.
On top of another dead animal.
Wonderful. Whatsoever shall touch the flesh, oh my, thereof shall be holy. That sounds like science. And when there is sprinkled of the blood, once again, not creepy, thereupon any garment, thou shalt wash that wherein it was sprinkled in the holy place. Teehee. But earthen vessel wherein it is sodden shall be broken. And if it is sodden in a brass pot, you piss in it, it shall both be scoured and rinsed in water. All the males among the priest class shall eat thereof. And
Okay.
it is most holy. And no sin offering, whereof any of the blood is brought into the tabernacle, gotta love that tabernacle, of the congregation to reconcile withal the holy place, shall it be eaten, it shall be burnt in the fire. Whew.
Wow.
So God said to Moses, say this to Aaron and his sons, this is the law of the sin offering. Kill the son offering in front of God in the place where you killed the burnt offering. It is most holy.
And the meat offering, and that offering, and the trespass offering.
Stacks. Can I take a number 3 offering? The priest that offers it for sin shall eat it in the holy place. This sounds like magic. Wherever touches the flesh of the sin offering is holy. If any blood gets on the garment, why do you have to say wash it in the holy place? If it was cooked in a clay pot, it must be broken. If cooked in a brass pot, it must be scoured and rinsed in water. All
Because
the
there's a
male
difference.
priests, there's a difference. All the male priests must eat it. It is most holy. Don't eat any blood from the sin offerings. Burn them with fire.
So sprinkle the blood around and then burn it. Don't eat it. Okay. Makes sense.
That makes total sense. And with that, that's going to bring us to the end of the book of Leviticus. Chapter 6. Well, what do you think, James? Did you know God had a lost and found section?
I did not know he had a lost and found. Yeah, that's new.
So that was
the difference.
one good thing.
Yeah.
What were you going to say?
Then right back into the offerings, right back into killing and burning things. But it was nice to have a little break from that, a little detour.
Exactly. At least we had a section where he helped us lost and as I knock over Charlton Heston, where he helped us lost and find people who were apparently stealing something and either got caught or of their own admission. I'm a little foggy on that. Are giving back what they stole plus 20% of its worth if I recover. Yeah. I mean, hey, good luck enforcing it, but okay.
Yeah, God will take care of that, Amy. Come on. Trust in him.
Ancher says you stepped on your own joke, the value meal joke. Well, sometimes I have to step on my own Happy Meals. I was going to say step on my... I wanted to say step on my own meat, but I didn't know how to get it there. But gotta step on my own meat sometimes. Yeah. And okay, with that, we are moving on to the book of Leviticus, chapter 7. And
right off the bat, another offering. Another offering. Another trespass offering.
Can we not talk about this? Once again, I don't want to armchair philosophy. I know there are theists out there, Jews and Christians who are like, who are you to judge God? And it's just like, I mean, I'm just some girl dude. And all I could say is this stuff seems a little...
He's allowed to be narcissistic. He's God. He's allowed to demand worship.
Yeah, I just, from some schmuck's perspective, it seems evil. I don't understand why it would suddenly become more moral if we had a higher intelligence or maybe some higher
Superpowers.
metacognition where we
Magic.
could understand the 5D chess. I don't even understand the who are we to judge God question. I often want to remind theists, the only people, literally, we are the only part of a rare set of animals that actually judges things. Like just a very tiny sliver that can actually judge, and we're in that group. So,
well, like the divine didness argument, he gave us the ability to consider things morally, right? So he gave us some type of moral bearing, and he doesn't seem to operate within that. But don't think about it. Just assume that what I do is right, even if it seems wrong, because I'm God.
well, so I think the Jewish, the 50% of Jews, the secular Jews, would say, you're just reading it. And we'd be like, what? And then the Christians, I think, would be like, that's just the Old Testament. And it's like, all right. I mean, if God is just in his teenage years, it just seems really weird.
Let me channel, what was that, Jamie Russell, who said, well, God had to be like that back then because he needed to preserve the line for the Messiah, because the devil was always trying to defeat God's plan to prevent the Messiah from coming. So God had to be kind of a hard ass back then to make sure people did things the right way so that the devil couldn't thwart his plans. You see?
Can't mess up the master plan.
Right. The plan to bring Jesus, the Messiah, the redemption, and how the devil could alter the plans of an omnipotent being, I don't know, but apparently he can.
So it doesn't look like it gets much better in the New Testament. So we'll see for that. And then I wanted to show, I think, I agree. I will say it really is a big mix. There's only two sides that I've seen to the Old Testament, or the Torah, as my parents would call it.
The Pentateuch.
The Pentateuch is that when God is in exposition mode, it can be very boring. When he's just, you're a duke, and you're a duke, and you're a duke, and you're a duke. But
this
then
offering, that offering, this garment, that garment.
But then when God gets first person, oh man, shit gets breaking bad. Like it gets very interesting. All of a sudden, it's like, I'm sorry, we're spreading blood on who? We're drowning what?
On the horns, Amy. On the horns for the altar. Remember, you got to wipe the blood on those horns to make that offering work.
And when we say bite the head off a chicken, I mean, they think there's so much in the Bible that I feel like I can't even bring up to Christians because they'll just be like, you silly atheist. Like the more I learn about the Bible, the more I just want to bring up, I'm trying to think just, I guess not bonnets. I'm trying to think of other things, but just there's some things that are just like the altars. Why so much blood? Why so much sacrifice? Why so much sacrifices, animal sacrifices to begin with? Why is he?
And it's funny because he could fix all that with just one human sacrifice, replace all these thousands of animal sacrifices daily with just one human sacrifice. Wow.
Just one human sacrifice. You just got to kill a guy who's super perfect. What does that mean? I don't know. What does killing a guy that's super perfect make it better? I don't know.
I don't know, but it's better than killing all these animals all the damn time. I'll tell you that much.
I mean, I'm glad the Christians and I guess Jews no longer. Do Jews still make animal? I don't think Jews make animal. What the hell happened to?
right?
Yeah, Jews don't make animal sacrifices anymore. My
Because
family,
they've got God caught in a technicality because they don't have their temple and God hasn't provided them with a temple. So as long as God doesn't provide them with a temple, they're not required to do the sacrifice. Now they aren't going to actually do anything to build that temple, because if they built it, then they would be obligated to do it. But since it's not there, they're exempt from it. So I
So
mean,
wait,
yeah.
so they don't do it because they're waiting for the temple and in turn the Messiah and all this shit?
Most of like the religious ones, they believe the Messiah will come back and he will rebuild the temple. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's not going to be like a Jesus type, like where he
right.
dies for their sins, but
Yes,
he just,
because
yeah, he
as
restores
far as
Judaism
I
to like
know,
the pinnacle of what it should have been all along, and it's like the main religion. But yeah,
and I may be criticized by this by the Christians, but the Jews were not looking for like a kind, happy savior. They were looking for a
they
much
were
more, I'm
looking
here to
for a
kick ass,
revolutionary. They
revolutionary. I'm
didn't
here to
like
take
being
back.
under the thumb of Rome. Yeah, he was going to defeat the Roman Empire, which seems kind of laughable at that time. Idea of defeating the Roman Empire was not really.
Well, they were a superpower.
Yeah, they
So yeah,
were.
it's basically.
Yeah, I mean, they would
Um,
eventually wither under their own weight, but at that time, in the
well,
first century, there was no way that.
and it's
Yeah,
funny, the Christians will often blame. They'll say, "See, there were gays in Rome, and it fell. Therefore,
there were
gays
gays
caused."
in Egypt. There were
And
gays
it's
in
like,
Greece.
yeah, it had nothing to do with Christianity weakening Rome and all this other. Okay,
Well, that was part of it. It's just hard to manage an empire that long and
well, that's the other thing. Yeah,
that
nothing ever lasts
size, and
forever.
eventually things begin to decay. And then you start getting political, which gears into the political science slash you know modern political commentary. But yeah,
Yeah, gets into all that fun. And okay, just
the
we
trespass
are
offering,
the
yay!
trespass offering. Likewise, this is the law of trespass offering. Get off my lawn. It is most holy. Good to know. In the place where they kill the burnt oh, come on, man.
Right? Yeah.
Kill the burnt offering, shall they kill the trespass offering? Just lay it on. Stack it.
This could have just been part of the last chapter. Why have a separate
Fine.
chapter? This is the same shit.
Over and over. And the blood thereof shall he sprinkle round about upon the altar.
I didn't see that one coming. I did not see that one coming.
Another roundabout. And he shall offer it of all the fat thereof, that nice ass rump, and the fat that covereth the inwards. Excuse me. And and the 2 kidney shots, and
Wonderful.
the fat that is on them, which is
That
by
kidney
the flanks.
fat. Oh, well, thank you, God, for telling us where the kidneys are. By the flanks. See, look, that
By
biblical
the flanks.
science right there.
Biblical science. Get it on, baby. And the caul that is above the liver, with the kidneys, it shall he take away. But why? And the priest class shall burn them upon the altar, for an offering made by fire unto the Lord Bob. It is a trespass offering. Get off my lawn. Every male among the priests class, once again, always a good sentence to start with, shall eat thereof. It shall be eaten in the holy place. It is most holy. Keep on down. As the sin offering is,
Holy
so
as
is
Swiss
the
cheese, baby. Swiss cheese.
Mm-mm.
It's holy as Swiss.
So is the trespass offering. Get off my lawn. There is one lawn for me. The priest class that maketh atonement thereof shall have at it. Have at it, girl. And the priest there that offereth any man's burnt offering, even the priest class, shall have to himself the skin, also not creepy, of the burnt offering which he hath offered. And all the meat offering, kinky, that is baken in the oven, and all that is dressed in the frying pan and in the pan shall be the priest's
Or Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Kentucky Fried Chicken. That offer it.
Without the skin, I don't want the skin on the chicken. Can you fry that without the skin?
And can I tell you, I'm just so glad that the Bible can't be edited and that none of this can be removed. Aren't you glad, James, that this is holy and inspired by a God?
Yeah, I mean they certainly don't focus on it, but they can't quite eliminate it because it's not what they spend any amount of time thinking about, but they can't take it out either because it is from God. It is holy.
And you know what it is? It's because week after week, as is their job, as is, I'm sure, every rabbi and priest and imam, their job is to go and select the actual good passages out of these holy texts and make sermons and speeches and lessons about
Console
them
people,
and go out and to speak very beautifully on them. And, and it sounds great. And everyone goes home happy, waving the hot fan in their face, and then they go home.
You go to your pastor, your rabbi, somebody, and you have a trouble in the family. You've got something going on, and this is not one of the chapters they turn to and say, "Well, let me tell you about the meat offering and the trespass offering, and have some wisdom from this God."
As I often say, James, when I am in a deep, dark place, when the sadness has reached my zenith, I say to myself, as the sin offering is, so is the trespass offering. There is one law for them. The priest that maketh atonement thereof shall have it. And I know.
Deep.
I just know.
It's going to be okay.
We're going to get through it. We're going to be okay.
God is real. He loves you. He cares about you. He's right there with you. He's inside of you. Jesus just came inside of you and filled you with his love. Come inside me, Jesus. Fill me with your love.
Come inside me. We're not there yet. Not there yet. And okay. We had a Bertman's offering. Are we on 9? Are we baking in the oven? I think I said skin. It got creepy, so I think I said skin.
9, yeah.
9.
8 or 8 or 9, but
well, I'll do 8 then. And the priest class that offereth any man's burnt offering, even the priest shall have to himself the skin of the burnt offering which he hath offered. Is it classic or double?
Extra crispy.
What is it called? Extra crispy.
Original or extra crispy? Yeah.
Original or extra crispy.
Yeah. I always get original.
Yeah, when you're doing, you get original. See, when I like to kill an animal and then offer it to a god, I do extra crispy. So
otherwise, original. Yeah.
Yeah. Otherwise, I'll still take original. Original is still good to God anyway. To God.
Praise him.
Okay. Praise Yahweh. Okay. I love saying Yahweh. The funny thing, I know that that's not even technically his name, or you're not supposed to be able to say it like the Jews. I love the Jews that don't say. You can't have the
G/D.
The G/D. Yeah, my parents are not those type of Jews. They're like bacon. They're like a hoagie, good old Philly hoagie with some bacon in there. That is what they're doing.
Yeah, cultural Jews, not
cultural. Yeah, exactly. They do the menorah and all the other stuff, and I like.
Do they sit Shiva when somebody passes away?
Maybe.
Do they sit Shiva?
Yes, I think so. Maybe that's probably my mom does. I don't know if my dad does. And in the pan shall be the priest that offer it. Fantastic. Oh, and all the meat offering that is baking in the oven. Bacon in the oven. Welcome back.
So you got original, extra crispy, or baked. The baked chicken, which is a little bit healthier, yeah. A
little bit healthier.
Not as greasy.
Not as greasy. And all the meat offering in the baking oven, and all the dressed in the frying pan. And in the pan shall be the priest class that offer it. And every meat offering mingled and tingled with oil, and dry shall all the sons of Aaron Ra have, one as much as another. Okie dokie. So let's. And the priest shall have all the skin to himself. He will also get all the meat that is baked in the oven or fried in the frying pan. Every meat offering mingled with oils belongs to Aaron's sons. And okay, can you believe it? What do you... I feel like we haven't had many offerings. I feel like there's still a lot of categories. I feel like they have redone the same titles twice. Like, I know it's different chapters, but once again, am I hallucinating? Why is it so close and similar?
Like, exactly the same since chapter 1. And this is similar to Exodus, too, but yeah.
Yes, exactly.
They had a similar chapter towards the end of Exodus about offerings.
More offerings.
Here we go again. A peace
Here
offering.
we go. And actually, I'm going to take a sip.
Pass the peace pipe.
Oh, baby. And okay.
Pass that peace pipe.
We are having some fun, because who doesn't have fun with a peace offering? But also,
we are killing animals. We are burning flesh. We are flaying animals. Take that skin off. Flay that animal.
Exactly. We're getting really personal. Holy moly.
Flay that animal for Aaron Ra.
We've had enough violence. Why don't we switch things up? It's not just funny. It's a little bit unjust. Woo-hoo!
Oh, wow. We haven't had that yet.
Let's find out. The peace offering, Leviticus chapter 7. And this is the law of the sacrifice, always a sentence you want to hear, of peace offerings, which he shall offer unto the Lord. Bob, if he offer it for a Thanksgiving turkey, then run, Native Americans, run! Then he shall offer with the sacrifice of thanksgiving only and very specifically unleavened cakes, mingled and tingled with oil, and unleavened wafers anointed with oil.
As you watch the Detroit Lions get blown out once again, and Dallas Cowboys get their ass kicked once again on Thanksgiving.
Woohoo! And cakes mingled with oil of fine flour fried. Besides the cakes, oh boy, we're really going through a whole cooking list. He shall offer for his offering, oh my, almost Jeebus. James, do you see what you're reading?
We've been reading it all night, baby.
We've been reading it all right. That's okay. I'll read it in case I think I'm double hallucinating. Besides the cakes, he shall offer for his offering leavened bread with the sacrifice of Thanksgiving turkeys of his peace offering. On Thanksgiving, he lets us have leavened bread.
That's got to be a misprint.
Thank you. I know.
That's got to be a misprint because in the verse above that, it's got unleavened bread. That was some asshole scribe just trying to troll God. Like, I am sick and fucking tired of writing unleavened bread. I'm just going to put leavened bread. Screw you, God.
That's true. Doesn't sound right. Sounds a little fishy.
Yeah, definitely. Because you know how much he hates leavened bread. You know how much that really pisses him off.
Yeah, he hates that guy.
It's like Ken Hovind and his taxes. We're burning the midnight fat for God. Yes, Iron Chariots, here we are. Especially the kidney fat and now the liver fat. God really likes that kidney fat to be burnt for him. It's a very sweet savor. Oh, Randolph. She's got
a unlimited
amount of props.
I love you. Send loves to
you need to
Randolph
get
Richardson and the amazing Canadian Atheists.ca. Canadian Atheists? Who does that?
This is the head of Canadian Atheists.
This is the head of Canadian Atheists.
Oh, remember when he's like, "What do you have now? 10, 15 members in Canadian Atheists. What do you have now? You up to 10 people yet?
See, I need to be able to do an actual Aaron Ra impersonation, but he says Pat says I could just see Aaron's son shouting, rub some oil on it. No need more oil. No, it needs more oil. Now rub some onto me.
Take the skin off, baby. Take that skin off.
Take that skin off. That's right. And if you've just joined us, we are Skeptic Bible studying on Leviticus chapter 7. If I see a good funny comment, I'll try and send it up on there. If I don't see your awesome funny comment, I probably still think it's awesome. I'm just reading here, so you can help me out. Tag me, whether you're on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch at Amy Newman, and then I will 95% of the time show it up on stage. Usually, yes.
How much further do we have for this chapter here?
We're moving along, and this will you can generally see this is a good meter. The bigger this is, the smaller the chapter. Yeah. The smaller this is, the bigger the chapter. And so, So on Thanksgiving, he will offer it with unleavened cakes and wafers mingled with oil, along with some fine flour. Fantastic!
Yay!
He let us have. Literally feels like a North Korean situation. Ever. Like, oh, dear Supreme Leader, he let us have bread that rose. The bread actually rose this time.
And actual potatoes instead of just potato peels. Yay.
That's right. It's a misprint. Where's my whip? Get back to that unleavened bread. Get back to that unleavened bread.
Yeah. What is that? Yeast in there? Is that yeast in there? We're about to kill you.
No. Can't have that. And okay. Oh boy. Every time I see a highlighted sentence, you know it's about to be fun. And of it he shall offer one out of the whole oblation for an heave offering, unto the Lord Bob. And it shall be the priest's class that sprinkleth the blood of the peace offerings. Why do we keep on sprinkling blood on things?
This is worse than a Chinese wet market. I mean, this is
Well, but see, I can't even use the word cult, because when I use the word cult, I automatically lose whatever theist I'm talking to. So it's almost like an equation. But I'm sorry, among atheists and skeptics and etc., James, am I crazy? Is this not almost the textbook definition? We are killing animals and sacrificing their blood.
And sprinkling blood everywhere.
Like, they make fun of the Mayans so hard. Sometimes, not all of them. But it's just...
The Aztecs, the Mayans, even the practitioners of voodoo or pagan religions in Africa that still do sacrifices. They look at them with disdain. They're primitive. And
it's not like it's one section. It's not like it's one line. It's chapters after chapters after chapters. Like, we've done we're going to do 2 podcasts, if not more, on just how much shit we need to kill and sprinkle their blood on the altar for Yahweh. Yeah.
This is like deja vu. This is the same shit we read last time, except for God's lost and found. That was it. Right back to the offerings.
I hope he kisses Moses after all this shit, because, man.
With all that blood around?
Well,
with all that buckets of blood all over the place.
I was just saying, for how much Moses does for this God, I'd be like, man. But I guess with all that blood,
he did get to see God's back parts, remember? So Moses got a little peep show. He got to see God's backside.
I mean, yes, I don't know what else to say. The same with, and I mean, I just call it out when I see it. I'm not trying to do like when it comes to the Christians sometimes get angry when I say blood cult, but it is blood magic. This is blood magic. I don't know what else to call it. And I'm not trying to once again be offensive. I know it is offensive, but I love you. I love you, theists. I really do. Jews, Christians, Muslims. I love you. Let's go to karaoke. Completely fine with that. But this God, holy moly. That's all I gotta say. Okay, back to sprinkling blood on things. And the flesh of the sacrifice of his peace offerings for thanksgiving shall be eaten the same day that it is offered. He shall not leave any of it until the morning. Oh, but God, I know it's Thanksgiving, but like the whole thing is that there is leftovers. I let you eat leavened bread. And get it and finish. All right, stuff it down, baby.
And go rip the head off a pigeon while you're at it.
All makes sense. All makes sense. It's all coming
Do another
together.
trespass offering. Yes, Ian. Thank you. It's fucking batshit crazy.
Science. Friggin' science. Okay. And the flesh of the
Mute
sacrifice.
Amy on mute.
Oh. Am I muted? Can you hear me?
I hear you now.
Okay. I was going to say, hopefully this time
must have been my audio.
That's okay. And sometimes I swing my props around and they dislodge things. So there's always the chance I knock the microphone out.
It happens. You're swinging your wand around and it bumps into something. It happens.
Sometimes you just got to swing those things around. Okay, moving on. But if the sacrifice of his offering be a vow or a voluntary offering, yeah, I bet the pig just was like, let's do it. Come on. I want to give.
It wouldn't be a pig. It would be a sacrilege.
It's a filthy animal. Well,
yeah, that would be.
You can't even sacrifice it. You can't.
Nebuchadnezzar. No, Nebuchadnezzar. He did that. That they call that the abomination of desolation.
And
when
you
he
know
sacrificed
the funny
pig
thing.
On the altar.
The funny thing about that is pigs are so freaking smart. I know that a lot of lay people think of them as
dumb, filthy animals, but they're not.
But as any farmer will know, as any scientist will tell you, but as any farmer will tell you, they are very smart creatures.
Yeah, they're not. There are plenty of dumber animals than that.
Yeah, that's my favorite combination of words. I think tonight, voluntary offering. Okay. But the remainder of the flesh of the sacrifice on the third day shall be burnt with fire, as you do.
You have a voluntary offering for me, Amy?
I do. I wish I could do some fire magic. I want to smell a burnt fat, baby. And okay.
Yeah, it's like a regular old barbecue. For Jesus.
They send me mixed feelings, okay? I feel like I understand the vegans are really pissed off. They're very pissed off. But I feel like even if you're a meat eater, I feel like you should not be too happy with what's going on here. I feel like you should walk in with very trepidation. As soon as they're like, hey, you want to have a piece of this? I got this over the thing that I killed over there.
Just take some of this blood and just spray it over around that altar there. Thank you. Yay.
It'll be fine. It's holy somehow.
The Sandra Bullock. That's
the other trigger word. Yeah, the Sandra Bullocks are thrown around. The other trigger word is they hate the word magic. But anytime we ever ask for a mechanism, an actual mechanism, we get, where's Oz and his crickets or Peter or anyone for sound effect board?
Yeah. I don't have mine ready. No, that was
Freaking
standing for truth in our after our debate with Smokey.
abiogenesis. Where is the beginning of the universe? Before you continue, how did God make the universe? How did God make life?
Magic.
Well, he said that he spoke it. Yeah, that's cool. That doesn't really explain anything. That sounds like a children's story. I don't know.
Well, it's like what do they call them? Strangling the truth. But after our debate with Smokey, and I kept calling it magic, and it was either him or LPP. They got kind of like, why do you keep saying magic like that? Magic. What's magic? And magic is where God suspends the laws of physics. He abrogates reality to allow something to happen that otherwise could not happen. Magic. Parting the Red Sea. Magic. Suspending the laws of physics. Magic. Pregnant virgin. Magic.
Like, I want to know the mechanism. Like, don't just tell me, if you're going to say Moses made the Red Sea rise, and not like they walked through it on like a awesome shore day, which is not. Sometimes they like try to take the miracle out of the miracle, which is also very silly. But no, I want to know the mechanism.
Like that Noah movie.
And they may say, well, how is it a miracle? I don't know. Once you know it, I don't know. That's for you to figure. Because by definition, it's defying the law of physics. So I don't know how you would even prove a law of breaking a law of physics unless this. There's also, I know it's this could lead into a black swan fallacy, but we have never seen anyone break the laws of physics. So it's just piling on lots of events from Adam and Eve to Noah and Moses, all the way to Jesus, all the stuff that would be just defying the laws of physics. And you know what the funny thing about that is, James? The closer and better we've gotten at science, the more those miracles seem to have disappeared. Isn't that funny?
The more we are able to document things and have reliable records in history, like we have today, we have cameras, we have just even reliable witness testimony, just even reliable historical documents that you can have put any type of reliance on. We don't have any of that for any of these miracles.
Yep. And they want to argue over the historicity over it and all this stuff, but because I don't think Moses. I'm a Moses myther. I'm trying to think what the term is, and but that's not my big contention. It's the miracles. It is absolutely the miracles.
Well, all we have for, I don't know, like the trial of Anne Boleyn is historical records, but they're reliable records. You can have, not even faith is the appropriate word. You can have confidence that event in history really did happen in the 1500s. But nothing magic. They don't make any outlandish claims.
I think Eddie and Oz were just talking about this on Pasta's channel. I would say, what is the difference between Moses, Jesus, and Aristotle? I think there are major differences. I think that Aristotle actually has the strongest documented claim to existing. I think Jesus then goes in the middle, and then Moses at the end. And yet, even if all three were exactly the same, it would not mean that Jesus came back from the dead, or that Muhammad, or that Moses rose the Red Sea. Just like it doesn't mean that Aristotle's ether is real.
Well, I mean, we know as well as we know anything that Joseph Smith lived. he was a real person. I don't think almost everybody accepts that Muhammad was a real person. He lived, but
I will
you could
say, I
dismiss
forget
their
whose podcast it was on. I met someone or saw someone for the first time who was a Muhammad mythicist, which was the most interesting position.
I would be willing to look at the claims, but I mean, it definitely seems like there's way more evidence for Muhammad being real than
I
Jesus.
agree.
But both of their magic claims, I would take with a very heavy dose of skepticism.
And that's the only thing I really care about, because I'm somewhere in between, as I often say about the Jesus thing. But it's just, to me, him being alive is not the linchpin for the story.
Right.
The weird
Now, if he wasn't
thing
alive,
for me,
then yeah.
the weird thing for me, and to bring us back to the subject, is just how weird the notion of sacrificing something really is. Like, just this notion that you can kill something and get something out of it. Like, and I'm not
Substitutionary atonement, yeah.
Yes, and I'm not talking about food. Not like you stab the animal, or not like you kill the animal and you get clothing
something
and
magical.
drapes. I
You're
mean,
getting something
magical.
magic or spiritual.
Like you,
yeah.
yes. I mean, they make fun of, once again, you kill the animal and it makes it not rain. But how is this? This is almost exactly the exact same thing. We're making things holy by killing animals.
You kill the human, Jesus, then God won't be mad at me after I die. That time I don't know, jaywalked or cheated on my spouse or whatever, God will be okay with that. And then that's the thing, is they go to atheists and someone like anybody and like, oh, you just don't want to believe in God because you want to be able to cheat on your spouse and not feel guilty about it. Ha ha ha! You terrible bad atheist person. And it's like, Christians do all that stuff too. You think Christians don't have affairs? You think Christians don't steal, lie, cheat? They do that shit all the time too. It's just they get to tell themselves, "Oh, don't worry, God can judge me. God is my judge. You don't judge me. God's working on me." Yeah. Anyway,
It's a work in progress.
bullshit and progress. Gay men.
Yeah. Well, no, you can just go to the, what's it called, the next day. It's the Catholics that do confessionary.
Yeah, more so than a formalized Orthodox. I think do it too, but Catholics are more formal about it.
And I want to answer my own question. I know why they stick to this notion of sacrifice, because they reinterpret it. What I see is something so terribly horrible, because every time I say this, they go, well, Amy, is it so terrible to sacrifice? Aren't the troops sacrificing so that you can have a country and yada, yada? And it's like, yes, but that feels like a bait and switch. That is not the same type of sacrifice. Like, our troops putting themselves in the line of fire so that they can protect us and others is not the same as taking a guy and saying, holy shit, he is so amazingly nice. He's so nice that he's
never done anything wrong.
He is perfect. He is perfect, and we're going to kill him so that it undoes all the bad stuff that we did.
Yeah. Does that make
Those
sense?
are not the same. Those are not the same. And I
That's
know
not the
the
same.
language sometimes, because you say self-sacrifice. What have you self-sacrificed? But it is taking
pick up
the
your cross,
metaphorical.
Amy. Pick up your cross.
Yeah.
That's what
And
they'll say
so
about it.
it's baiting and switching the metaphorical for the literal. You know, you always want to give to your community and work hard. You do not need to literally kill yourself so that your community can survive.
Yeah, like we said before, empty the death row and fill it up with good people. See how that works out for you.
Yeah. Well, it's always the analogy I try and use is it's like someone killed your daughter. Something horrible. Something absolute, the worst thing ever. And he's about to go to jail. And it's like, holy moly, whoa, whoa, whoa. Don't send that guy to jail. We found Frank. And you're like, Frank? Did Frank assist in the murder of my daughter? It's
No.
Like, no. So, hear me out here. Frank is a nice guy. In fact, Frank is so nice that he has never done anything wrong in his entire life. And you're like, okay, and it's
Frank
like, yes.
Yeah.
And so what we're going to do is we're actually going to send Frank to death row. And once he's dead, all of the sins, pish posh, right as rain. I feel like at that point, you have to say, oh, you guys are the bad guys in the horror movie. I get it now. I get it.
Yeah. This is not going to end well.
Yes, and okay. And so, sending lots of love to everyone out there in chat. And we're moving along.
Sorry, this content is just so tremendous, but had to take a little detour just to center ourselves.
Exactly.
Right back onto the burning and the killing, and
right back onto the. I know, back onto the excitement, the redundance. All right.
I think we were on 18. I think 18.
Yeah. That's what Yahweh always tells us. And if any of the flesh of the sacrifice of his peace offerings be eaten at all on the third day. That's a scary sentence. It shall not be accepted. Neither shall it be imputed unto him that offereth. It shall be, I love this. All the words that they use to call me at this point, I like. They taste good in my mouth. I think it's because I've argued with people. I love the word degenerate. I love the word abomination. I love using it against them. Like when I feel like a reprobate. Like there's nothing better than calling out a fundy for being a degenerate. Because it leaves that type of language almost always leaves them speechless because they're like, you're talking like us, but you're saying the other things that I don't know how to. It's like, exactly. All right.
But no, you're an abomination, not me. You are. You do yucky things with your pee-pee. You put it in yucky places. God doesn't like it. It's yucky.
Exactly. And I'm attracted to who God knows what sex. I'm not sure which sex is the wrong one. I'm not sure if I'm not supposed to like guys or girls at this point. But one of those God doesn't like me liking. I know that for a fact.
Yeah, he gets pissed off. He gets mad.
Exactly.
He doesn't like it. It's yucky.
It's yucky. He really hates the gays. But while he hates the gays, he also really likes to decorate, and he wants it to be scarlet and fine linen and
you can't just have any kind of girdle. Not just any kind of girdle.
It's gotta be a curious girdle. Oh my god. Okay.
Literally. Not just a top hat, a bonnet, a nice little bonnet.
Exactly.
A bell, maybe a little bell on there.
Now I'm imagining a bonnet with Aaron Ra in sunglasses and the beard. So it's a great combination.
A bonnet and a girdle. With the stones on his chest. The ephod.
It does it to you.
Yes, Grumpy, it does do it to you.
I know. Yahweh is such a metrosexual, or at least he doth protest a little bit too much with Sodom and Gomorrah.
He's a little curious.
But
Like,
let's
I have to
call him
kill him.
metrosexual.
I have to kill him
Yeah.
just so everybody knows how much I don't like it. It's so yucky.
Slice, 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 slice. Yeah, I hear this chapter is a whole bunch of fun. Now, this is not so much fun, but whew. It was actually interesting the first time we started reading it. I got all excited. I think my exact words were, "This is gothic as shit." But it's kind of lost its appeal when you keep on doing the same thing. Like I'm into, vampires are cool, and I like that sort of mythology. But yeah, you're running the blood thing out a little strong. I mean, it's not Halloween. I don't know what you're doing, God. All right, back to being an abomination.
Do it.
It shall, my body is ready. It shall be an abomination, and the soul that eateth, I'm getting back to my old English, of it shall bear his antiquity. And the flesh that toucheth, oh my, any unclean thing shall not be eaten. It kind of comes with the whole it's not clean thing, but okay. It shall be burnt with fire. And as for, we had to figure that out for ourselves, James. We couldn't figure that out for ourselves.
I mean,
To
what are we
not
going to
eat
burn it
unclean
with?
things.
Burn it with water? Burn it with a rock? I mean, what do you burn? Oh, fire. Okay. All right. Makes sense. Burn it with fire then. Thank you, God. Yeah, don't burn it with Grandpa there. Put Grandpa down, Amy.
Grandpa. I know. Good old rock soup. This is Grandpa right here. This is
You
where the
saved the rock
creationists think we come from. Right here. That's what that is exactly what we are telling them. How? I don't know why, but
Even though that rock is still more real than their God, so it's still a better hypothesis than magic.
that is true. Can you imagine if their God was as real as this freaking fake rock?
At least you
I'd
know
be
it's
amazed.
real. Yeah.
At least we know it's real. Okay. But it's not an agent. It's not a being. It's not a yeah, I know. Those are all words that are generally either loaded or have biological and chemistry terms tied to them. So show me the biology. Okay. Or the metabiology.
That can't be an ultimate. That can't be an absolute. It doesn't have agency. It's not a necessary being.
When I think about you, I touch you so much. Oh yeah. Bye-bye. I'm here all night, folks. Tip your waitress. It shall be an abomination, and the flesh toucheth, any unclean thing shall not be eaten. But the soul that eateth of the flesh of the sacrifice, once again, always a sentence you want to hear, of peace offerings that pertain unto the Lord Bob, having his uncleanness upon him, even that soul shall be cut off from his people. Wait, what does this mean? Okay, hold on. Wait, I'll finish the sentence, then we'll go back. Moreover, the soul that shall touch any unclean thing, as the uncleanness of a man, hot, or any unclean beast, I think that's illegal in most states, or any abominable snowman, unclean thing, and eat of the flesh.
That's you, Amy. That's you. The abominable, unclean thing.
Yeah. Oh my. Only on good days. And eat of the flesh of the sacrifice of peace offerings, which pertain unto the Lord Bob. I don't know. Even even that soul shall be cut off from his people.
Oh,
so,
well,
okay.
At least if you just cut the soul, that's fine, because you're cutting nothing, so yay.
Don't eat any flesh that has touched any unclean thing. Eat whatever is clean and burn the rest with fire. Anyone who eats the flesh of a peace offering when their uncleanness is upon them will be cut from his people. Anyone who touches any unclean thing, like the uncleanness of man, unclean beast, or any abominable unclean thing, and eats the flesh of a peace offering will be cut off from his people. Don't do it. What kind of gothic? Visigoth or
Visigoth, I think. Yeah, Visigoth.
Yeah, more Visigoth. Or at least it was. At this point, I think the Visigoths would be bored. They'd be like, okay, blood. Okay, whatever. We've just been redundantly redundant. All right. Don't
Ah,
eat fat, blood, or roadkill. Oh, good advice.
roadkill. Like we've all seen that article about the guy in the UK who just drives around picking up roadkill on the side of the road to eat because he wants to not have environmental impact. He wants to eat meat, but he doesn't want to have
Exactly.
any impact on it. So he just takes the roadkill because hey, they're already dead. You're not doing anything. Yeah,
Do 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 do.
fresh possum
And
stew.
hey,
Yay!
that's awesome. I wouldn't have known not to eat roadkill once again. I'm glad this is all in the Bible. Wouldn't have known.
I mean, the tire marks kind of aren't appetizing. There's grill marks, but
Yeah, not as fun. And okay, moving into our categories of don't eat fat, blood, or roadkill on Leviticus chapter 7, starting off with some good old violence. Do. Violence. But it's not just violent. It's also, as been just recently showing up, it's unjust. You gotta have some
yay!
fun on justice.
And moving
Woo!
right along into the chapter.
Oh man, I wish.
Moving right along
James,
into the
I hate to
yes.
do this. I
What?
hate to do this. I think
What?
this is actually my first time ever saying this ever, and I hate to do it, but you know how the Bible doesn't have contradictions?
Well, yeah.
Duh. Oh man, I hate to do this to you, but this
What are you
might
gonna
actually be.
What are you gonna do, Amy?
This may be the first section where the Bible contradicts itself.
That does that even make sense?
What?
Is that even possible?
It's not even possible.
That's not even possible. I mean, that'd be
Hold
like a square circle or a round planet. That would be crazy.
Huh.
I mean, imagine if the planet was not a flat plane, but was a round ball. How crazy would that be?
Whoa.
I know
world is
there are
not
some people that
flat?
don't think. There are some people who think it's round. What can you do?
Those
They think they
damn
don't think it's
globers.
flat. Yeah, they don't think the ice wall of Antarctica is real. They think they're satellites. They don't think it's ground position service.
But it says, doesn't it say so in the Bible? What else do you need? What else do you need?
Yeah, I mean, they hate God. They hate His truth. They hate just anything good or holy. They worship their flesh. They worship their lust. They, as the great wise prophet Joshua from YouTube says, they worship their genitalia.
So we have Jamie says, and hi, Jamie says, why do goat herders make up ridiculously long lifespans of patriarchs in such a way that the decline of ages follows a biological decay curve?
That's a loaded question,
Because they,
Jamie.
let's see,
They read other cultures doing it and said our ancestors are just like theirs.
I assume what you're trying to hint at is the creationist hypothesis of genetic entropy. I think that they could have just liked, guys that were really old. And it just got more and more down to more manageable time frames. But I don't see any.
They read the other cultures doing it, like, hey, their people were living to be hundreds or thousands of years old. So if our God is better than their God, then our ancestors had to live that long too, right?
And what I would really need, yeah, exactly. And what I would really need to push me in the opposite direction is evidence that people could live 600 years old. Like
900 even.
I think the oldest is 900.
969.
It's just some of the years are just so out there that it's, to me, it's just, in my opinion, once again, I'm just a schmuck, but it's just wish fulfillment. Like, I wish I would be a 600-year-old lady one
Building
day.
a boat?
Well, building a boat, with my family, but
But you would be like 14 feet tall, according to Dr. Hovind, so because
and my
they were
question,
big back then.
my question to you, Jamie, and then we'll go back in, and it's actually going to be open mic soon. We're about 3/4 of the way through the Bible study. My question to you, Jamie, was how would you be able to prove that there was 600-year-old people or even 900-year-old people for that curve to exist? Because you're actually kind of building in that the curve does exist, but that is saying that Moses was alive. But if I don't think Moses was alive, then there was no curve. It's just a narrative curve.
By the time of Moses, the numbers were a lot closer to reality. They started off really crazy, and then as time went on, they naturally got gradually closer to.
And I don't get why
reality.
you would have to have a curve. Yeah, I don't understand why. I don't get why that's like a good thing. It seems like a neutral thing. It almost seems like a downside because you would have to prove that those people lived.
Yeah. They're
You
going
have
to
to
say
prove
after the
those
flood,
ages.
the conditions. We haven't seen the Hovind video yet. After the flood, the conditions changed. People couldn't live that long because his canopy wasn't there. Remember, Amy, the 3-finger thick canopy came down in the flood, and that increased the oxygen content so people could live longer. He said Adam and Eve, they could run for hundreds of miles continuously without getting tired just because of the oxygen. So if you give an Olympic athlete, you put give them pressurized oxygen on their back, they could just run for miles and miles without getting tired, apparently, according to Dr. Hovind. But yeah.
Again,
I don't think it's going to work that way, but yeah.
Randolph says it's biblical math. See the cartoon send you in Twitter for a good laugh. Sounds good. And if you'd like your comment read on screen, feel free to tag me at Amy Newman. See it whether you're on YouTube, Facebook, or Twitch. And
biblical geography.
Biblical geography, baby. And we're going to jump back in, but then it's going to be open. Open mic.
After we eat the roadkill. After we eat the roadkill, it'll be open mic.
And Jamie, we see your comments, but give us a little bit, and then you can just come on in and join. So don't
bring some roadkill. Come on, man.
Cat, blood, or roadkill.
Bring some on. Bring some roadkill. A sweet savor to the atheist. A sweet savor. God doesn't like it, but it's a sweet savor.
Is it not weird that they say he says sweet savor? Like, I'm only changing the words to make it like barbecue and sweet and sour sauce a little bit. It says sweet savor.
Yeah, it does say he likes the smell. There's something about it that he gets pleasure from. Just like you would for a nice barbecue ribs or chicken.
I feel... because I keep on seeing your comments, but I don't understand why the point is if it's fake, it shouldn't follow a natural decay curve. I don't understand why that's true. I don't understand.
They gradually made it closer to reality.
Yeah, I don't see why that would prove that the curve exists. It's just saying they claim it is real, but now the answer is, can you prove that these people existed and that that they lived that long? You would first have to prove to me that Moses exists.
For God's sakes, your book, they refuse to even name one of the pharaohs because they obviously have no clue who the pharaoh was at that time because it was written hundreds of years after the event supposedly took place. They had no clue who the pharaoh was, so what was his name, Amy? Pharaoh. What's the next pharaoh's name, Amy? Pharaoh. What was the pharaoh after that's name? Pharaoh.
Just like Aaron Ra's sons. Don't get names.
Yeah. No names. Yeah. Wouldn't want to put anything that could be checked or falsified now. We wouldn't want anybody to be able to say, hey, that guy wasn't the Pharaoh back then. So to be safe, Pharaoh.
Pharaoh, exactly. And okay, moving along. And the Lord Boardlog spoke unto Charlton Heston, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, Smishmael, saying, ye shall eat no manner of fat, of ox or of sheep or of goat or anything else that you can find from Minecraft, and the fat of the beast that dieth of itself, and the fat of that which is torn with beasts may be used in any other use, but ye shall in no wise eat of it. For whosoever eateth it, the fat, it's like a tongue twister, of the beast of which men offer an offering made by fire and brimstone unto the Lord Bob, even the soul that eateth it shall be cut off from his people. Moreover, ye shall eat no manner of blood. Well, that's good. Whether it be of fowl or beast, in any of your dwellings. Whatsoever soul it be that eateth any matter of the blood, even that soul shall be cut from his people. So God said to Moses, speak to the children of Israel, saying, don't eat the fat of an ox, sheep, or goat. Don't eat the fat of a beast that dies of natural causes or is torn by beasts. You can use these dead animals for other things, but don't eat them. Whoever eats the fat of a beast that is sacrificed to me will be cut off from his people. Don't eat blood. Whoever does this will be exiled. Okay.
Back to the wave offering.
Back to the wave offering.
You're at the Phillies game. They're doing the wave.
Woo-hoo! Oh, the good memories. I've went to quite a Phillies games because they are decently priced. Not like the Eagles. The Eagles are much more expensive.
2 Marlins games in my life. I went to a few Atlanta Braves games back in the day. So that's my baseball team. We are a Miami Dolphins and Atlanta Braves channel. Yay.
Woohoo! And I just like Dolphins in general. I guess the team, but I just like Dolphins. The wave offering. Everyone do the wave. And oh boy, it's been in like almost every chapter. Good old stabby, good old violence. But not
it's just
a wave
violence. Offering to something not to die, I guess so.
Yeah. You give wave or else you die.
Strike 3, you're out of here. Kill him.
You gotta laugh about it. You gotta.
Kill him.
Yeah, that's kill him. Stabba. And okay, the wave offering from Leviticus chapter 7. And the Lord Bob spak onto Moses. At this point, he is like soaking wet. Can you say it, not spak it?
Drenched in blood. Drenched in blood, too. Yeah.
Spak, that too. Spak onto Charlton Heston, saying, speak unto the children of Ishmael, saying, he hath offered the sacrifice of his peace offerings. Yeah, we read that. Unto the Lord Bob, shall bring his oblation unto the Lord Bob of the sacrifice of his peace offerings.
Boy, Amy, get ready. Get ready for it.
Boy.
He's going to do it to you.
His own hands shall bring the offerings of the Lord by fire. The fat with the breast, it shall he bring, that the breast may be waved for a wave offering.
You wave the breast.
Lord Bob. Hi, God. It's kitty scratching. And the priest shall be upon the fat, and the priest shall burn the fat upon the altar. More altars, but the breast shall be Aaron-Ra's and his sons. What? God said to Moses, speak to the children of Israel, saying, whoever offers God a peace offering shall bring it to God with the fat and breast for a wave offering. The priest will burn the fat on the altar. I know, what the hell?
Wave the breast.
Woohoo! Do. She's
breast
happy
offering.
to be here. She's okay. No breasts were harmed in the making of this. Okay, and the priest shall burn the fat upon the altar, but the breast. Okay, and the heave offering. Holy moly!
I had too much last night, Amy. It's gonna go. Yeah. Too much blood.
Too much. It happens.
Too much blood. Blood everywhere. You got to heave into the mercy seat.
Oh, into the curious girdle. And okay, we have a trend going. Dun, 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 violence. But gotta keep on laughing, ladies and gentlemen. You gotta keep on laughing, or you'd cry. And the right shoulder ye give unto the priest class for an offering of the sacrifices of your peace offerings. He among the sons of Aaron Ra that offereth the blood of the peace offerings and the fat shall have the right shoulder for his part. For the wave breast and the heave shoulder have I taken of the children of Ishmael from off the sacrifices of the peace offerings, and have given them unto Aaron Ra, the priest class, and unto his sons by a statue forever and ever and ever some more from among the children of Ishmael. This is the portion of anointing of Aaron Ra and of the anointing of his sons out of the offerings of the Lord Bob, made by fire and by brimstone, in the day when he presented them to the minister unto the Lord Bob in the priest's office. So give the right shoulder to the priest for a heave offering. I think I saw this in The Mandalorian. Aaron's sons who offer the peace offerings and the fat will get the right shoulder. What? I will give the wave breasts and heave shoulders to the priests and their sons as a statue forever. My dad.
Oh, okay. Makes sense.
Okay. Makes sense. Somewhere. All right. And
just keep waving those breasts, Amy. Keep waving
Keep waving those breasts. And okay, this is going to be the last section for the night, which means I am actually going to do it to you. Not yet. I'm going to prep you. Prep your body. I'm going to be...
Do it to me, baby. Sell me a quality muffler at a reasonable price.
Oh, baby. I am going to be sending our StreamYard link into chat if you would like to join us. Doesn't matter if you're on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, or some other streaming service somehow that you're able to watch this on. You can join us by following us at the link once we go into our open mic section. And we are about to finish Leviticus chapter 7, a statue forever. What do you think, James? It's been some fun.
It has been a burning, waving, and heaving good time. I'll tell you what. Not for those poor animals though. They've been dropping like flies out there. The bullocks.
The animals having a good time. Or the other
bullocks.
Those poor Sandra Bullocks.
Poor Sandra Bullocks.
And okay,
castrate the bullets.
Yeah.
Do an amaretto. An amaretto sour.
And okay. That has been sent into chat. Woo hoo hoo hoo. And I'll go pin that in a second.
Pin that on the Jeebus.
We are coming into the last bit of our Bible study, Leviticus chapter 7, a statue forever, finishing up with our peanut butter and chocolate. What do you think it is, James?
Gotta go with violence first. Is that what's first up?
Woo! I'm glad you said that because I was going to stab you.
You were about to kill me. Well, that makes sense because you are an abomination to God, and everything that you do infuriates him, and you just everything that you are and is just he hates it. He can't stand it. Really.
Flatter me. But all right, we are going to go into and the second, not only violent, but it's the theme of the night. You gotta laugh about it.
A statute forever means a law. Yeah. Or a statue.
Exactly.
It can
A
be
law,
either
a
one.
law forever, or it's really Doctor Who. Much cooler. I want to go with that. All
Morningwood.
right. Exactly. Morningwood forever, which the Lord Bob commanded to be given them of the children of Israel, Shishmael, in the day that he anointed them by a statue forever throughout their generations. This is the law of the burnt offering, of the meat offering, and of the sin offering, and
Oh,
of the
baby.
trespass offering,
Keep
and
'em
of
coming.
the consecrations, and of the sacrifice, of the peace offerings.
What about the
which
wave
will-
offering? Not the wave off? Okay. Or the heave offering? No.
Where's my breast friend? Yeah. Whew, I like that pun I just did by accident. It's my breast friend. Here we go. We're waving.
The
We're
wave
waving.
offering.
Okay.
For
Congregation.
God, it's holy.
For God.
Anything
Holy.
that
Exactly.
touches the breast is holy.
And
Holy
of the
hands.
sacrifice, holy hands, of the and of the sacrifice of peace offerings, which the Lord Bob commanded Charlton Hested in Mount Sinai. I had a word for that, and I forget what it was. In the day he commanded the children of Israel Shishmael to offer their oblations unto the Lord into the wilderness of sin. I'm just going to pretend that's what it says.
I was going to say back to the wilderness of sin.
Back to the wilderness of sin, baby.
What was the other place that was the wilderness of sin? Breastplate of judgment was one of them. Yeah, breastplate
Curious
of judgment.
girdle. It's all good. The law of the burnt offering, meat offering, sin offering, trespass offering, and peace offering are all commanded by God to be statues forever. I don't want to repeat myself. Well, I probably am going to repeat myself because that's kind of what this thing does. But still.
Like that fire on the altar, that will burn. How long is it going to be burning, Amy? A day, a week, a month, a year, 20 years, 50 years, a trillion years? No. It's still burning now, somewhere.
Somewhere in our hearts. And okay, with that, is your body ready? Let's see. I give 50-50. Let's see who this person.
It's not ready, but we're going to let him in anyway.
Oh my, I am only half ready. My body is ready. And with that, we are moving into
Hey, Tom Rabbit!
Hey, Tom Rabbit!
Tom Rabbit likes to record these. Hope you got this for the YouTube channel, Tom.
So, Bite Me James is the name of this person.
I don't appreciate these call-out, James.
What did I do now?
Pull an amaretto? Like, oh my gosh, you are
For
so
what?
mean to me, James. I don't appreciate me.
Oh, when
being
she's typing loud, when she's like,
listen, I can't help it that I
last-
kind of like my mechanical keyboard. It's a thing.
you
It
can
has-
mute yourself when you're typing.
Well, I don't know how loud it sounds. I'm so sorry. But yes, yeah, no, like.
I love it,
Stop picking on
Amaretto.
me, James. I don't deserve
I
this.
love it, Amaretto. I love it. That's why I bring it up.
Splitting
Because,
hearts.
yeah, we love you.
I'm listening to this and I'm like trying to keep up and I'm like trying to clean and organize things. And then I hear James like just
Drop
throwing me
Amaretto.
out there. And I'm like, man, again.
Was that tonight?
That was tonight.
Oh, I didn't even hear it.
That's why I came in.
Well, you're
just
trying to juggle the
that.
chat and
Listen.
the book. And
Listen, I will put on a breastplate of something. It's not probably not going to be ordained by God, but I will go to battle here, Mister, over you
the
calling
social justice rogue, or
So you got to fail.
Oh, you
gotta-
remembered, James. Finally, thank you. I appreciate it.
Why? Because you're not a warrior, you're a rogue?
See?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I don't usually play tank. I tend to play DPS, or I play healing class. So, I mean, I'll take
Yeah.
Astrologian too. I'll be a social justice Astrologian for anybody who plays Final Fantasy 14. You can do it that way. But
As a
yeah, I'm curious to see-
unicorn on the planet
oh my
Belfazar?
gosh, oh my gosh. But no, I'm also curious because I see Pat's backstage too on his take on this, because I never realized, like, it seems like there's a lot of animal sacrifice in the Bible too. That's as
A
part
lot
of like
more.
a lot of blood
Yeah.
magic going on here in that sense.
How does that seem to you as a pagan?
I mean, I knew a little bit about this. I don't think I knew it to the same extent as somebody who have I messed around with not animal sacrifice, but doing things with my own blood. Yeah, sure. I'm also a goth. It kind of comes with the territory. You gotta have an edgelord phase a little bit, but you know, I'm kind of. I don't really approve of that. Like, I can't. I love animals. Like, even like, just for reference, like, I'm not vegetarian or vegan. I am trying to like move a little bit more towards plant-based stuff because I don't like supporting the, industrial meat industry with some of the inhumane practices that go on. So it kind of puts me in a pickle because I'm an animal lover, and it's like, I had chickens as pets growing up, and then I see how chickens are treated.
So did we. We had chickens.
Yeah, like I just
for a while.
So for me,
Not
it's
all the time.
It sucks because it's like I acknowledge that with the way that our society is here in America, especially like factory farming is kind of a thing, but I also do know like there's a lot of predatory stances, like if not to get too off tangent, but the way that the big chicken corporations treat the farmers, it's kind of gross. And we have a lot of them here on the Delmarva Peninsula. And for reference, like one of my partners, their families, they're a farm family, but they refuse to ever go into chickens for a good reason. A lot of debt. It's like
Tyson or
we have Monterey, I believe, here, and I don't know if Purdue is down here too, but I know we have at least Monterey, from my recollection. But there's Tyson may be down here too in the general region. But yeah, it's just a lot of ickiness. So I mean, for me, it sucks because it's like, I love animals, but it's here I am.
Even if the farmers wanted to provide better conditions or do it more humanely, like they really can't because of the quotas and the way that the companies force them to run these farms.
Yeah, and because of like the fact that, I mean, let's be real, especially since the pandemic set in, but honestly, I think since the recession in 2008, people, I hate Walmart as a company. Am I still forced to shop there because of what they carry as far as and how it's priced? Yes, there are times that I am. Like, for example, a gallon of milk in grocery stores around here can go for up to like $4.50 a gallon sometimes, and not with any shortage and stuff, versus like the Walmart that's half an hour south of me by where where I met Amy and I used to like kind of work and stuff like that. They were doing it. A gallon of milk was $1.70 for a good chunk of time. We're under, and because I think $1.70 was like a middle ground, like as far as like milk fat, and so like they charged it different prices based on the amount of milk fat. So yes, and it sucks because it's like I want to be able to support independent farmers and stuff as well, but I'm also lower income, and a lot of I don't necessarily want to say organic, because I mean you can find organic things in the grocery store, but a lot of like farmers who, for example, like for turkeys. There are a lot of farmers who raise their own turkeys and cows and stuff like that, and you can go and buy it directly from the farm, but the price is going to be a lot more expensive. Better quality meat, but it's a trade-off. So yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of not necessarily squicked. I have a pretty strong stomach, but it's just kind of disappointing that it's basically like, sacrifice animals if you did something wrong or something like that. And then, earlier tonight, there was like a part of the Bible you guys were going through where it was talking about, like, I guess if somebody stole something, like they had to pay it back plus 20%. And all I could think about was, I wonder if this is how the credit card industry started, because this kind of sounds just like instead of stealing, you're borrowing money.
Well, I know there are rules in the Old Testament or Torah that I'm trying to think if they're actually in the Torah or if they're in the Talmud that caused a lot of trouble for historical Jews. But I don't know it well enough to actually comment too much. But yeah, thank you so very much.
Amy, you stole my girdle.
Stole my curious girdle. Woohoo! And I will say,
it's worth $1 million,
surprised.
so I'm gonna need 1.2 million.
1.2.
It sounds like we're gonna be starting a really interesting film here, man. Like all these props we're talking about. My gosh.
Props and blood.
But I'm just so surprised by how much animal sacrifice, like Christianity is making more sense to me, because it's like, oh, they were completely set up for the whole sacrifice thing.
And it's almost like instead of we've just transitioned, instead of killing animals, well, now we're killing people in the Middle East and everywhere else around the globe. It kind of fits.
So when I call Amy out as being amaretto, it's a nice call out. I'm not being mean. I'm being loving, and yeah. So don't think about that as a call out. Think about that as a compliment.
Sure, James. I know I'm your favorite little theist to kind of actually, well, no. I was going to say sunflower, but I guess he's Oz's favorite little theist to kind of.
I love all our theist trolls, and you are definitely one of the.
I am not, but
our
I'm
favorites.
Not trolling. There's a difference. I'm actually here in good faith.
Okay.
I believe you.
But we love you. I'm sure that she is. She's always been very polite and very.
And I like the liberal theist.
Adding to the conversation. Yes.
I mean, she generally, when we were like cafeteria Christian, the creationists are like, "Oh, call me the front." And we're like cafeteria Christian.
She's agrees with us 90% of the time.
Amaretto is like, yep, yeah, and I love gays. I'm gonna be gay, and no, I'm gonna go for it.
I mean, I'm listen. Like the Christians don't even really consider me Christian. Like a lot of them who come on here, it's like they don't really consider me Christian. So it's like,
go figure.
It's fine by me.
Are you familiar with the no true Scotsman fallacy?
I've heard it brought up. Okay. I'm trying to remember the exact definition of it, but I'm supposing it's like, from my understanding, it's like, where do you draw the goalpost, right? And shifting goalposts and stuff like that.
Changing definitions.
Right. It's basically they're saying you're not a real Christian because you don't do X, even though X really has nothing to do with.
To which I say, well, then you're not a real good person because, you believe this is directly in contrast. It's like someone who's like anti-abortion, anti-gay rights, anti-this, but it's like, well, but they're also, the ones who, when people challenge their Christianity or their faith, they're like, we love everybody, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, if you loved everybody, then this and this and that. Like, I've done this for over a decade at this point because, I don't fully believe that, you can, and at least here in America where these things are definitely issues. You can't be voting to like take away medical care and financial assistance for the poor, while also, propounding to follow the path of Jesus, whose his big thing was my gosh, what was it? Levi gave up all of his wealth and followed him. Like, Jesus didn't necessarily cater to the rich at all, so it's just the hypocrisy of some of the positions that a lot of those types of Christians take. I don't enjoy that in the least. I don't agree with some of that. Now, if you're calling out other Christians because of that, well, we can share a beer, you know what I'm saying? We can kind of come and break bread. But, if it's anybody who's I just keep going back to my neighbors, their daughters and sons-in-laws formed a church, and it was basically they purported to be such good people and everything else. They left their jobs to sing for the Lord and stuff and founded this church. And yet, they're saying on their website that even if well, what if I'm too poor to give? And it's you should still give, showing out percentages and stuff like that, and how saying God says that you basically need to give all your crap to the church. And I don't know, I just feel like that's so trying to think of the term, not oblivious, but it's it's just so insane to think about in this day and age. But yeah, that's I joke with people, it's about being a mod here on an atheist channel. I'm no, I gel with the atheists more a lot of the times than I do the Christian people that come on here. Some of them are sweet, but yeah, some of them I'm I would not trust you 10 feet from my child.
Well, we love all of our theist mods on here. And okay, we love all our theists. And okay, I'm going to bring on someone who probably knows more about the Bible than all of us. So, woohoo! Pat, we have been Skeptic, and thank you so very much, Cassie. We have been Skeptic Bible studying on Lost and Found. How are you? And what are your thoughts about the subject? Anything we've been talking about tonight?
Well, I mean, you're reading about, Bronze Age sacrifice, right? And that's something I find for my own studies would be rather important. You can really take any account from the Old Testament and compare it to other accounts that we have throughout the Mediterranean, particularly in the post-Bronze Age. So what we call the, in Egypt, it would be the Intermediate Period, Greek Geometric, all that period, after the Bronze Age collapse. And it's really interesting. You can read Greek accounts like Xenophon, Roman accounts like Cato the Elder, about how do you perform sacrifices. And it's you just read it right out of the text in many ways. It'd be hard for the average person if you tore out the sections and you didn't know it was from the Bible versus from Cato the Elder, and you changed a few of the gods and names. I don't think people would be able to figure out which text it's from. It's very common. It's a kind of reinforced trope. Cultic activity in the ancient world kind of followed some standards and norms, whether or not you were Hebrew or, pagan Greek or, from Mesopotamia, or you were a Celt or, some other person from the ancient world. That's really it. I just love this stuff. I find fascinating, but I think most people start snoring after a while.
Thank you so very much, Pat. And okay. Yeah, do you have a hard time when you are teaching, when they come to you for questions, do you have a hard time balancing the academic part with, I almost want to say, not the feelings part, but I get certain emotional reactions when I read some of these chapters. I guess here is my reinterpreted question. Is it hard to be charitable even with things that you now no longer believe or even now disagree with?
to kind of piggyback off that, it's almost like you kind of have to put yourself in a sociologist kind of mindset, because you have to be able to not, you know, you have to balance out the ethnocentrism, but also like your own personal beliefs too, and evaluate them fairly, you know, the other, you know, the ancient religions and stuff too.
I don't think any of them are any as more enlightened or problematic than the next. I mean, you study ancient peoples and you kind of see some similarities and draw comparisons. And when there's dissimilarities, you make note of them, but the dissimilarities are fairly uncommon. The similarities are very pronounced, at least in my experience.
And Leviticus is kind of a jam-packed chapter with, I mean, so tonight was kind of sacrifice, but I know that there's a lot of interesting stuff coming up. I know the tattoos passage is coming up.
Something else that hits even closer to home for you?
Yeah, what's it called? Is this another one where they
You're an abomination. Man shall not lay
yeah,
with mankind as with womankind. Yeah.
Woo-hoo. So it's almost like Sodom and Gomorrah was the event, but now this is what's coming up is the actual proclamation that you can't do it.
Right. So before, God was just enforcing the natural law, I guess they would say. He hadn't specifically told them you can't be gay, but you should just know because, hey, God wrote it on your heart, right? You just know anyway, so he's just going to kill you anyway.
And okay, we'll go back into open conversation in a second. We're going to get Nick in here. Thank you so very much, Pat. And we have been Skeptic Bible studying Lost and Found. Oh, I found it. Nick, how are you? And what are your thoughts about anything that we have been talking about or reading tonight?
I am doing well, thank you. Hope you're doing good. I'm a little sluggish still. I got my second Moderna shot, and no significant. You know, it's like no real side effects other than just really sleepy, groggy, and barely functioning. But you know, it's like at least I'm not. You know, some people have described it being pretty difficult. Hasn't been too bad, but so I'm a little out of it. But I figured, hey, I had to come on, and I am in the process of making. I have a very special drink. They know it well in my channel. This drink has unique metaphysical ontological properties. Yes, I'm aware that's a problematic term, but nonetheless, the properties are unique. It changes, the ontology of the drink changes based on the audience. Now, if the audience is my wife, this is a smoothie with bananas, protein powder, vitamins, milk, and agave. If anybody else is watching, it's Oreo cookies, ice cream, and chocolate. So it's a famous drink, and I'm almost done with my protein shake. But that's what I'm up to. And listening to animal sacrifices, which has been great. I said, I know there isn't a God, because if there was, all of these animals would taste like bacon.
Exactly. And oh my gosh, of all the animals that this God says that we can't have, it's got to be bacon. Come on,
well, to be fair, only Jews can't have it.
That's true. Well, that's
and Muslims don't eat it either.
I was gonna say
Well, that's true, but that was Muhammad who made that stuff up. I mean, if you know, you don't have to, you know, if you want to follow
obviously,
Muhammad,
because Allah told him to.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, okay.
And yeah, a lot of animal sacrifice, way more than I thought would be present in the Torah. And I had learned. Let's see. Offering, all different types of offering, peace offerings, trespass offerings,
heave offerings, wave offerings,
wave offerings.
I mean, basically, God just sits around thinking up of new things that people can do offerings to him for. Sounds like a good way to spend your time.
Well, what's that? Was it? Oh no, I think it was Bill Maher who on his stand-up was talking about how God seems awfully insecure. He needs all these offerings. You know, secure gods don't need these kinds of offerings.
Well, he tells you he's jealous. In fact, he said his name is jealous even. So
Yeah, I find I heard an interesting defense to that not that long ago.
Oh,
To what was
good to
actually
find out.
meant by jealousy, and it was apparently wasn't the same thing that we think of as now. But for the life of me, I can't remember the full defense to it. I mean, there's got to be a good one. I mean, we can't be the first people ever to hit some theist over the head with, well, God says he's jealous.
Oh no, I heard. I'm trying to think what the exact. Jamie, do you remember? James. Jamie came up with an
Jamie has
apologetic
yeah.
for something I didn't hear.
I
I
think
mean,
Will may have
usually
said
they'll
something.
just say like, look, he's God. He gets to be jealous because there's no other God like him, so he gets to be that way.
I triggered half the room like my second time here because I said I was a divine command theorist, which I am, in as much as I think if there was a God, you'd have to follow him, whether it's moral or not, which is actually a necessary element.
Which is
of
why
divine.
the problem of evil is not always the best argument
See,
to use
but-
against theists.
oh,
They can resort to that.
Well, but so one of the arguments I use for why I'm for the divine command theory is consider how much smarter we are than an ant. And if we truly decide something is best for an ant, like we know an anthill is about to get destroyed, and so for whatever reason somebody decides to move the anthill, transplant them to save all these ants' lives, the ants may or may not like it, but they are incapable of understanding how much of a favor we just did them. But on the flip side, first of all, keep in mind, most of us don't care that much about ants because we are so much smarter than them, and we have our feelings and emotions are so much more complex. We value our understanding of awareness so much more than theirs. So A, we don't normally care, and B, now imagine that God is 10 times 10 times 10 billion orders of magnitude smarter than us compared to that ant. I don't think there's any way we could evaluate it, but I also can't imagine how God would either care what we think or be jealous of anything we say or do. And if he does, there's something really wrong going on.
See, my problem, I understand that view. My problem with that is that you would have to show at a certain level to me where the 5D chess is either happening or because they assert that it's good because it is God's nature. But I do not see any correlation between good and a deity's nature. And so I would almost be, and this is what freaks Sal out, is I would probably be in a literalist Satanist camp if Yahweh were to be proven to me. Now, I don't know. Maybe he is really awesome and he proves himself and he's like, no, I actually love gays and all this stuff. But I don't know if I could do anything. Just like you were saying, if he's 10 times stronger than me, I just don't know.
It does devolve to might makes right, because what can you do about it? He's God. He could still send you to hell. So you just might as well agree with them, because what else are you going to do?
Well, and keep in mind, first I'd argue, I mean, again, using the ant example, an ant would be incapable of understanding morality in the way that we do. So just because an ant would sit there and say, well, I can't understand what makes these humans moral, yeah, you can't. And again, with such a difference between them. But I'll flip that over and say one other thing, because I've been thinking about this after that discussion, which was, again, if it were demonstrated to me that there really was a God, this is still, in my view, a sort of a philosophical argument, an argument for why I would think you really should do anything that God tells you. But having said that, if I were Abraham and God said, murder your child, I don't think I could do it, even if I fully believed in a God, even if there are some things I'm not capable of. And so I might think that it's the right thing to do. I could not, I physically could not do it under any set of circumstances. So.
So you just have to take whatever punishment God doled out because you wouldn't
Yeah.
be willing to compromise your morality. You couldn't bring yourself to do something so terrible.
Well,
It has nothing to do with morality. It's love, really. I could not. I would be incapable of doing that to my child.
Well-
The morality would not be the issue.
I agree.
Just one point, back up just a little bit. When we're talking about jealousy of God, some people interpret that as a God not being permissive of sharing glory versus being jealous of quote unquote other gods, being unwilling to accept any lesser veneration by, and then again, engaging in what would be polytheistic worship or forms of worship. That's what it's been explained to me. And I'm not saying that argument necessarily holds water, but that is how a lot of theists approach the term jealousy. And as far as sacrificing your child, Nick, I don't think you would in a modern context be willing to do that. But if you were someone living in, the Middle Bronze Age, where child sacrifice was not as an uncommon a feature of society, ancient peoples throughout the Mediterranean, child sacrifice was not fully uncommon. Ancient Canaanites did it, as did ancient, proto-Israelites did it. Child sacrifice was something that occurred, and it was seen as the ultimate sacrificial bounty to ward off the worst consequences of having dishonored and or angered the gods, or God, if you're a proto-Israelite, although they were technically polytheists early on. So again, it's hard to judge, but it wasn't something that wasn't common. Abraham wasn't doing anything unusual for the time period, as many people try to make it sound like.
Go ahead, please.
Oh, well, what did you want to respond to his point? Because
I wanted to make an ancillary point, just an interesting one. Jimi Hendrix, and it's going to sound it sounds a little out there, but we seem to have an innate desire to sacrifice for some reason, and it comes out in us under Jimi Hendrix, when he first ever destroyed a guitar. Somebody asked him why he did it. It was his favorite guitar. He destroyed his guitar. He said, well, he had just finished the best riff he had ever done. He had just finished what he thought was the best set he had ever done. And there was this instinct in him that something had to be sacrificed to that moment because it could never be repeated. And so he just destroys his guitar. Now, that eventually became a whole thing with him. But that was how and why he did it the first time. And it's interesting because I think we have this notion that sacrifice somehow imbues either our lives or our art or something we're doing with something more than it would otherwise have. It's obviously, I think it's a hiccup in the brain. I don't think there's any truth to it. But nonetheless, we seem to find a great appeal to the notion that sacrifice in and of itself, if you have a metaphysical ideology in mind when you do it, is going to commit that ideology to a reality. And it's an interesting, it seems to me to be just based in our psyches.
I just want to comment on both those things backwards, is that it brings me back to this whole dichotomy between the metaphorical and, I guess it's not a true dichotomy if I say the literal, but this dichotomy between the metaphorical and the literal. Self-sacrifice in the context of mythic structure, or in the context of, do you go to work every day and do sort of self-sacrifice for your family, I think is very useful for society and for us on a personal level. The problem, once again, just becomes when it becomes literal, when it's not about what are you doing to help your community, it's about killing Frank. And we're going to kill Frank, and it gets all of our, and I see this so much more often in the
Frank
Bible
too, but please continue.
But it's just so, I really, really despise the notion that you can kill something and it just undoes anything bad. And that brings me to the other point, which was how they do it, why, where this, like, I can, not me, because I don't know if I could, but where I understand parents that would kill their child, it always comes back down to this alleviation of fear of death. And once you alleviate the fear of death and you give the 2.0 a possibility, it just opens up a Pandora's box of all sorts of horrible things. This is where
That's true.
the Muslim bombers come, but also this is where you get the Andrea Yates and the people that say, look,
Honor killing.
I'm actually killing my kid because I want them to go to a thing. And so you get this weird, twisted logic where the worse it is, there's that very healthy shake.
For what Peter said,
yeah.
No, continue. Finish up your point.
To finish, the weird thing is, it gets to this weird thought where the worse it is, it actually becomes more beautiful. Like, isn't it amazing how perfect he was? And I could not give a stronger dichotomy in feelings between my view, between a Christian going, isn't it wonderful that Jesus died for us? And it's like, isn't it killing? And the guy just completely, yeah.
What Nick was saying about the guitar thing, that kind of, to me, that harkens back to the Jewish tradition of breaking the cup at the marriage, because it's like, so it can never be redone. Like, he just played this amazing routine. It's never going to get any better. It's like, yes, just, it's the pinnacle of achievement. Like, no one, that we're never going to be married again. This is forever, I guess, memorializing it. You on mute, Nick?
Wouldn't be a show if I didn't mute myself at least once. There's another one. I'm not sure if it's quite the same, because this was done out of jealousy, but actually maybe it's the same jealousy that's in the Bible. When I've forgotten what it's called, but in Red Square in Russia, they have that church, and sometimes people think it's the Kremlin. No, the Kremlin's the next building.
St. Peter's.
Yeah, that's it.
No, that's in Rome.
Oh, no, St. Peter's Basilica, you're right. St. Peter's Basilica is in Rome, but this is that church where it's got the spires, and people think it's the Kremlin. They call it the Kremlin. It's not.
Amaretto would know what it was.
But whatever that church is, after it was made, it was made by actually it was made by an artist, not an engineer. And then, but afterwards they blinded him, so he could never make another building that beautiful ever again.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, and maybe that's the jealousy component. Who the hell knows? But that's an interesting. Again, that's sort of part of this instinct. It makes no rational sense whatsoever to do anything like that, and yet we seem to have these connections in our minds made where we're able to, where we sort of conflate. I'm really big into not just fallacies but hiccups in sort of cognition. So confirmation bias, which is of course a fallacy, but it's also our brains my absolute favorite is affirming the consequent, because we do it all the time, and our brain takes something, we say, well, A implies B, and as soon as we say B, we're like, A happened, yeah. It's like, no, there's no reason. You cannot get from B to A on that one. But we do it all the time, and these kinds of cognitive hiccups I really find fascinating. And now I've completely spaced where I was going with it. I need more protein shake.
Or Oreos.
Yeah, more Oreos. Anyways, I think when we do things, that's how we make these false associations. Okay, the cows died, must be God, must be all these other things, and we really it is so comforting. It is actually genuinely comforting. I get that. It is comforting because all of a sudden this world that is trying to kill us and is really huge gets a lot smaller and more manageable. Problem is, it only looks smaller and manageable, and we're less likely to manage it. The reason we live happier, healthier, longer lives today is because of science, and that is us being able to ignore all that shit and use proper reasoning. So,
Nick, don't worry. God's in control, man. Just Jesus, take the wheel.
Well,
God's
what
got
is
it
it? If
covered.
Jesus is your co-pilot, you need to switch seats. Yeah.
Praise God.
Yeah, they got lots of sayings.
Well, just
Yeah.
to tell you how, uneven the analysis in ancient history could be. We can go back to, like, again, Cato the Elder, who I've read quite a bit, on agriculture. He goes through explaining spread manure on your fields, and
What time
make
period
sure
does he live in?
Roman era, right? So
Okay. First century.
I believe Cato the Elder is first century.
Okay.
CE. So he's sitting there and he's telling everybody how they do, they do what they need to do, and make sure you put stuff on your your land. And on the same thing, he's explaining that at the same time, make sure you go and sacrifice your animals and have your crops blessed and make the right prayers to the gods. So and actually I was wrong. He was born in 234 BCE and died in 149 BCE. So again, that's what I get for doing dates off the top of my head. But yeah, with these ancient people, it was very common to, have both a somewhat scientific, something based on visual observation in the ancient world, and then they would parallel it with, divine sacrifice and
superstition.
When superstition, right? So supernatural causation balanced with, kind of learned by rote and cultural transmission of actual real agrarian practices, but they couldn't tell the difference. They're unable to determine, is it the sacrifice or is it crop rotation? Is it the sacrifice or spreading manure? Is it sacrifice
fertilizer? Yeah.
Right. Fertilizer. Right. I mean, and again, it's kind of a reinforcing fallacy, right? If one works, then obviously the other one worked also in parallel.
Well, let's not forget the human tendency to bullshit.
Right.
I mean, the reality is, if you're looked up to because you understand one thing well, and then you're asked something outside of that field, the human tendency is, oh, well, let me tell you, this is how you do the fields, and this is how you keep these gods. Since it ends up being with this mystical intuition, you can say that and really believe you know what you're talking about. But one, you actually really do, and you've studied and you have grounding in, and the other one, you're just and we slip from one to the other very easily, and we are incentivized to do so both by our own egos and by the people who follow us, because they want answers too. So I don't know if this story is apocryphal or not. I've always sort of assumed it isn't, and it's a little self-serving probably, but there seems to be at least some truth to it. I don't know how apocryphal it is, but during the Black Plague, the initial the church's initial response was, okay, this is obviously the work of devils and witches. Well, witches started rounding up women and hanging them. The other thing you have to do is you have to kill all the cats. You have to kill the cats because the cats are the familiars of witches. Well, what do cats eat? They eat mice and rats. So by the church coming up with the wrong answer just by guessing, they actually made the problem significantly worse, because it accelerated all the cats were just a cat genocide. People were absolutely terrified of cats. And then they started saying,
now killing the sparrows.
Yeah. So and then at some point they started to say, well, wait a minute, maybe this isn't helping the problem. But if you're a governor, if you're an influential leader in any way, the instinct to come up with an answer, even if it's the wrong answer, is often much stronger than the instinct to be humble and say, I don't know. And the
want there to be something we can do.
Beat that. Yeah. Well, it's not. It's our egos. I think it's our egos, and I think it's people feeding those egos deliberately so that you can give them comfort by way of there being somebody who knows what the hell they're talking about.
I think people, when they panic, are highly impressionable. I mean, that's the problem with something like the plague. And it wasn't like when the plagues of the Middle Ages hit Europe, Western Europe in particular, that they didn't already know what the plague was. They'd already suffered under the Justinianic plagues during during the reign of Emperor Justinian. And so they knew from centuries earlier what the plague was, what it looked like when it hit major cities, but they just were unable to establish some formal process to evaluate what they needed to do, locking down cities. The Romans knew how to stop a plague. You stop letting ships go back and forth between cities where people are sick. This wasn't rocket science, but it was it was something they had learned, but because they still had the ability to transmit culture through writing at a higher rate than they did during the Middle Ages, and they weren't, again, maybe, the Middle Ages are called the Dark Ages for a reason, as far as, supernatural causation. And then you have issues regarding, the fact that if I terrify you and I'm in an authority figure, like a religious figure, and I tell you there's witches, well, I have, authority from the church and or the state, and obviously I'm the guy with the answers, right? And you're terrified, so your propensity to believe me is much higher. Your credulity level is increased to a level that is just immediately taking it in, and without any rational thought or any skepticism at all.
Well, it's like, for the supernatural versus commingled with the legitimate causes. I mean, it's like people do it today, that same dichotomy. Like they get sick, most of them go to the doctor, and then they still pray for it. Now, one of those is obviously much more helpful than the other, but they tend to put a lot more of the emphasis on the prayer part as to be the more efficacious one, when in reality it's almost certainly the other part.
And so I just want to break in here, guys. We're going to be have an open conversation for about 20 more minutes. So if you would like to join our Skeptic Bible Study, Lost and Found,
Bibble.
Bibble, good old Bibble. It's right back there. Got my
The
hardcover copy.
A Bible.
So you can go join our Lincoln stream, and if not, we're going to keep on having fun and then wrapping up soon. But
I love how long we've actually known how to deal with viruses, and Trump is still like, well, the science is out. So give me a fucking. Sorry, nothing. I'm not bitter.
Yeah, I don't even want to. It's. Again, credulity in times of fear, right?
Yeah.
That's the
it
problem.
also shows you that just because we have access to information doesn't mean people are going to get access to the right information.
Or that they're going to, yeah.
There was, then Nick's an educator and I'm an educator now. I think the problem with our society is that the ease at which people have access requires no introspection and no Socratic method from someone with an established credential and level of understanding greater than their own. So you can run and you can read a book on calculus and you might be able to get some stuff out of it. But the reality is you're not going to walk away knowing calculus. Just like when a student comes to one of my classes. Right, exactly. And you have I have students that go, "Hey, I read this book on anthropology." And I'm like, "Did you understand it?" And they go, "Yeah, I understood it." And then I quiz them, and they don't.
Well, that's like we have these Christian physicists who know a little bit about physics, but then they think they can overturn the entire field,
I get hit all the time with the quantum mechanics and how, to the best of our understanding right now, whether or not there's an actual observer, just an observer, changes how things operate at a quantum level.
But the definition of observer they don't get, yeah.
Well, and admittedly I don't understand it, but neither does anybody else. And so the idea that you can press that into service of there must be a God or there must be a soul, and I was just like, okay, you've read a blurb that somebody did somewhere on what's happening, and you're telling me that you understand it and you can press it into the employment, and this is just that in and of itself has been done so many times. That is literally the God of the gaps argument. The single
They're trying to find more gaps
failed, to
hide their God in.
Single most failed argument in history. Yeah.
I think one of the strongest defenses for that is there are certain subjects. Again, I'm not trying to sound like an elitist, but there are certain fields that if you don't have a terminal degree in it, you probably shouldn't talk. Physics is one of those fields. Yes, I took a couple of years of physics in college. I can do some basic calculations on force and velocity, and but I was not even taking engineering physics, right? So engineers know physics better than microbiologists, and with a terminal PhD in any physics related field, people are going to understand the mechanical. But even within the field of physics, terminal degrees aren't all equal as far as what area are you specializing in. And that's where I think people forget that, like, yeah, I read a blog post. Well, you read a blog post by, yes, the guy has a PhD, but he's a mechanical engineer. And that's
can I comment on what you just said? Because they do that purposely. Like, they basically are like, what do we disagree with? Evolution. All right, cool. Who do we have that has doctor attached to it? It's like, well, I have a doctor in physics. So like, cool. Do you believe in evolution? No. Cool.
Dr.
Go
Hoban.
write a thing that says evolution is
You did not just say that. You did not just say doctor. I think she was talking about people who actually obtained a doctorate.
And then what they do
I'm proud of my
they-
degree. I mean, I worked hard on it. It was a church college, and they changed it. They moved to some trailer, but now they want to show a picture of it as my degree. But I worked hard on my degree. But hey, if you want to call me Bubba, call me Bubba. I don't care.
And what they do is they then switch it to where if they're now trying to disprove, I don't know, something like the Big Bang, they then go to a biologist and they're like, do you have a PhD? They're like, yep. It's like, cool.
Or when they say medical doctors, they're like, medical doctors don't believe.
Exactly. Then they're like, tell us how wrong the Big Bang is. And so now you have two people, PhDs, reputable people, who are saying that evolution and the Big Bang isn't real. But it's because they're completely out of their field. They're not, no one asked them to talk them outside of their field.
Theoretical
except
physicists.
For the creationists. Exactly. Well, they're not, you see this in lay debates where people will change up their tactic if they're strong in one. If they think the atheist is a biologist, they talk physics. If they think they're a physicist, they talk biology. They just do the shtick on a professional level.
Yeah, like trying to talk geology with Gutsa Gibbon. She'll tell you she's not an expert.
Right, and that's the problem. Is like even like my field is I studying, archaeology of the ancient Mediterranean. And I basically start late Bronze Age and go a little bit forward, but I'm not a specialist. I'm a generalist. Someone like Dr. Josh, who is an Assyriologist, yeah, I know a little bit about, ancient Mesopotamian society, but I do it more as a survey of it. So if Dr. Josh and I are talking, I don't have a terminal degree. He does. I just listen to him because that's how these fields go.
Well, and for people disagree, you defer to him.
Right. And when most of the time it's like, hey, what do you think about this? He goes, oh, you're an idiot. Or, I'm just saying, or, but I'm sure if he wanted to know about Greco-Roman religious context in the Western Black Sea, he would ask me because that's my current field of research. Right. So again, maybe, possibly, but I think that would probably be the case. But, if I'm asking a question about the ancient Hittites or Neo-Hittites, I'm going to go to someone like him because it's immediately adjacent to his field and he probably knows quite a bit. But there are actual Hittitologists who study it in more detail. Right. He and I both would talk to him. And these are the kind of things where people don't understand that, like, people spend their whole lives studying this stuff, and then someone wants to read a blog post and think they're an expert on the ancient uses of certain words, and that's problematic.
See, I mean, we're just trying to learn. We're just trying to spread information. We're just trying to figure this shit out. They're the ones trying to push an agenda, trying to distort things. And that's very clear in discussions like this because we're just trying to get the best information. We're trying to ask the people who know the most, not just trying to find somebody with a title,
Right. And I think that's important too, because like I have students who come to me just like Nick does. When you're an educator, you try to teach in a methodological manner where you leave as few gaps in someone's knowledge. You start off at a certain level, you build from there, you go forward. It's, our educational system's not perfect. And, but I do think that the system where, you create learning objectives and those learning objectives overlap with the last learning objective. So you reinforced earlier information, build upon it. So you gain, subject matter expertise. And once you receive that subject matter expertise, you go beyond to a specialty. That system's worked for a long time. And, his book's on Amazon. Shout out to Dr. Joshua Bowen, because his book on, basically ancient slavery. was excellent. I've read it, and I'm going to be teaching a class to my students here in Washington State, using it as one of the texts we're going to look at for the period. So
our favorite Christian wants to sleep with him.
Yeah. But yeah, I think Nick, I'd like to hear him. He's been an educator a lot longer than I have, but I do think that that's one of the problems. Like, and when students want to learn, they're receptive to information. They learn very well through Socratic method, some self-initiated activity. But when you only go one way with a point to prove and you don't have the expertise, the chance for you to get a false validation to validate your own point is almost guaranteed.
Oh dear, if I wanted to get into all of the problems with the U.S. education system specifically, or just education in general, would be here all night.
Just get into sex with Dr. Josh. Just go to that one. Praise I am.
Go to,
I mean, what?
I lost the reference.
I lost my train of thought.
Okay.
Praise I am. He said that he wanted to sleep with Dr. Josh. So,
Oh, okay,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah. My
all
mistake.
right.
That was just me clicking buttons. That happens. That was God, Yahweh.
She doesn't have pants on.
Thank goodness for peer review because of that kind of thing. Because
And if I could gloat for just
Amaretto's
1 second. Yeah, and welcome back, Amaretto. Well, I've only taught
Like a church mouse.
I've only taught like 2 or 3 classes, and I'm supposed to be teaching eventually college students, but they were kids, just like I was in like that. What is that movie? The 80s movie, Kindergarten Cop. And this is, I'm so new that I have to apply for it. I can't even, I almost feel I can't be superstitious though. That is what we're here for, to be skeptics. But I believe I have a master's in education. I can't believe I can say that.
It's not a tumor.
I have to apply for it.
Congratulations.
That's awesome. Good job.
But it's very
Congratulations, Amy.
specifically in teaching applied technology. So all this stuff that you see, all this graphic stuff that you guys see, I should hopefully be able to teach it to other people.
now the question is, how you gonna make money with it?
Well, that's a different story. But anyway, I just wanted to. I'll believe it though once it's hanging.
I mean,
on the wall.
all the great stuff for the
hold on,
channel,
hold
like
on.
all the graphics, she does a lot of that herself. So
I know it's fun though. I love the stuff. I have turned what I used to run away from in class from middle and high school to go and do on the computers. I've now hopefully will teach that.
Wow.
And okay.
hopefully teach me a little bit of it one day. I'll
Yeah,
steal a
I
little
want
bit of her knowledge.
to do episodes on how to make podcasts and stuff like
Yeah.
that, and just release
We're
some.
gonna say how to make pie.
Woo! How to make
So
all this cooking with Yahweh, just
Cooking
really
with cooking with
random cooking, like
Oil, flour.
salt, milk, flour, oil. We could have had a whole cooking show.
Bird blood.
you could have the sacrificial
Fat.
cookbook, oy vey.
But
Make sure you don't get the
could.
fat in there. No liver fat, no kidney fat.
Well, remember the fats for God. That's that's the same thing that you see when you study, for example, Apollodorus, the Library of Greek Mythology, Hesiod, and all these other ancient Greek sources, is that the reason you burn the fat, well, first of all, Prometheus taught man how to cheat the gods. Zeus was angry, blah, 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 wipes out everybody with a flood. You've heard that before. And then they Zeus wants
Yeah, they
to
copied it
sacrifice.
from God.
Well, we don't. The Greeks got it from Mesopotamia, probably by
They got it
by
from God. From the real
synchronistic,
God,
religious traditions, but whatever. But the important thing is Zeus liked the smell. Put the fat, the bones, the non-edible parts on the sacrifice, burn it. The smell's pleasing to God. You've heard that terminology before, like tonight, maybe.
Oh, every night.
And that you could partake of the edible parts of the flesh, the parts that were nourishing to man. Now, interestingly enough, that's a very common feature throughout around Mediterranean societies, particularly from the Iron Age forward. The gods get a portion, the people get a portion. Imagine that. It's kind of crazy, huh?
It's funny, Amy, because Amy, do you remember
Pour
my
a drink out for your homies.
See, now I wanted to do like something a la in that same vein because I actually like to cook and bake. Now I'm like, Amy, we should do a biblical recipe show.
You would not want to do that. No.
Yeah, I don't.
We're
I
going to
don't.
get
I
into
don't.
some
I'm
terrible
not going
recipes.
to watch. I'm not going to watch. I'm just.
How
Saying.
much blood do you want to go on the altar? Do we need 2 pints of blood?
We'll just wait till you get to Ezekiel and the cooking your unleavened bread cakes on burning human shit.
I want to see Amaretto actually pull out that book on ancient Christian magic and use her expertise she's gaining to teach some
Start
people about
casting spells. Yeah,
I was
No,
gonna
no,
say
no.
you wanted to. Okay.
I'll
No, I
cast a
didn't.
spell on you.
No,
I
just
appreciate that.
really just explaining, within a Christian purview to some people that embrace that ideology, because Christians read that book and they freak out. They lose their
Once
minds.
I get through all of
And hey,
the
I'm
talks and stuff, like I'm definitely interested in trying to be like, yeah, let's talk about some magic here, like from this faith and this faith. Like I guarantee you that some Italian American families might be okay, but yeah, there'd be a lot of like really angry Irish Christians at me and stuff like that too. Just
You part
from
Irish.
That's
I
okay
am.
with this channel.
I am very, very much German and Irish and Italian. Very
I'm
Italian.
like 8% Irish. I think I got my DNA tested.
I look very heavily German apparently, but you can tell I'm Italian because I talk with my hands. I really do. So I've got it in my blood. But
No, but I think it'd be important. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, no, I think it's definitely something interesting that it's perhaps a little bit more common than I had thought. Even still, for magic to kind of be like, in Christianity, at the very least.
It was a big part of the Christian tradition. That's what people don't want to admit now. For the first few centuries of Christianity, it was pervasive. That's why all those, spells, translations now that you have of ancient papyri from Egypt and other regions around there survived. But it took an act of Emperor Theodosius I actually, and even his son Theodosius II. They actually had to enact laws to stop Christians from using magic because it was pervasive throughout the empire. Stop casting spells. Magic is verboten. And then Christians have to stop doing it too. So again, emperors don't make laws in absence. They're responding to what they see as excesses and problematic behavior, but it was pervasive enough in Christianity that they had to deal with it.
Like rubbing mud on your eyes to heal the blind?
Stuff like that. Yeah. Some of the spells are a little more complicated than that, have some pretty traditional pagan roots. But even like, part of the Greek magical papyri, it's a collection of text from Egypt that, is more pagan, includes some Jewish Hebrew incantations made, invoking the, God of Israel as one of the deities to cast spells, lay curses. These are very common in the ancient world. People are, modern people go, oh, magic was totally separate than Christianity, Judaism. No, they were right hand in hand with it, and many times were a facet of it within society. People didn't just give up their pagan beliefs. And again, even in a pagan system, magic or witchcraft is immediately adjacent to standardized cultic religious practices, right? So this is what people don't understand. This is the area that I research. So,
and I mean, to me, like Lucky Charms, a lucky rabbit's foot, like that's all forms of magic as well. And so some things like that have kind of, even today, even though that, you could have somebody who's like, yeah, witches aren't real. And then they have like, they wear a blue suit, they have like a lucky color, a lucky article of clothing, like for a job interview you want to ace, or for, a really big event where you're going to be like put on, put front and center. Even little things like that, like that's all magic as well. And I just think it's kind of interesting, to see that, these kind of things go back, I think, a little bit further than even I thought.
Curious girdle, breastplate.
Right.
Judgment,
well,
magic.
We have, all the way back into the Bronze Age, as early as we have writing, and even before that, we see, systems of, if we want to call it ritual worship and or magic. And really, magic in the ancient world was just more of a domestic practice, right? Something you could do at home. You could go down the street to some practitioner, male or female practitioner of magic, although we use the word witch because it's a pejorative, but it had some usage in the ancient world because certain women and even ancient Greek society were considered to be better witches, better practitioners of magic than the others, particularly like the women of ancient Thessaly had a reputation for being the most powerful most powerful women able to invoke certain kinds of magic, particularly prophetic magic in the ancient world, right? Being able to interpret signs and that one way. But those are the kind of things that you love to study and have fun with it.
And they must have been prominent enough that they were like, kill those mother if you find them. So seemed to be dangerous at the time.
Well, I think the real reason widgets are going to get wiped out in the 4th and 5th and 6th century in the Christian church is because many women that were witches, and we're going to use women here as because they're going to be targeted, is the church, the Orthodox Church, if you want to call it the Catholic Orthodox Church, as it emerges and finalizes what it's going to be, its orthodoxy after the second, first Council of Constantinople, and then all the way through the Second Council of Constantinople. What we're going to see is women that perform abortions or allow women a certain amount of bodily autonomy are going to be vilified, because in the Christian tradition, abortion becomes, and any type of infanticide becomes antithetical to the faith. So any woman that is skilled in such such medical knowledge, if you want to call it that, they're going to be vilified and they're going to be called witches, and witchcraft is a crime punishable by death. So again, these are all issues regarding the rights of women and bodily autonomy, and whether or not a little bit about ancient pharmacology.
Okay, thank you so very much, Pat. And I'm going to be honest, every time that you come on, I learn a lot about the Torah, more than I did from, I think, my rabbis. And okay, Grumpy sends in love to you. I see you got a crash, and we are actually going to crash too, as we are going
Have
to
a good night,
move
Grumpy. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
As Oz would say, or was it Oz? Someone would say the mimes. I think James is like, bring out the mimes. There we go.
Bring them on, Amy.
I've slowly learned to love mimes because I've realized how much I've mime in real life. Like everything I do, I can't help it. And okay, we have been Skeptic Bible studying Lost and Found. We are, I was going to say neck deep. I'd say knee deep into Leviticus, which is pretty exciting.
Balls
from
deep.
our third book. Exactly. Kind of there. I don't know. The Bible's a big book. I don't know if we're at the balls yet. We're getting there, though. But we have been Skeptic Bible studying Lost
Balls
and
deep into
Found.
Leviticus. Yeah.
Exactly. I hope you had a fun time. Nick, where can people find you, and what are your final thoughts?
My name is Nick. People can find me. Am I unmute? Holy smoke! I finally figured out how to work this thing out, at least for the next
Nick,
10 minutes.
what? Can't hear you.
Don't you even try that. Don't you? Oh my God, I still fall for that joke all the time. So people can find me. I have a news, politics, and culture channel called In Time. We do interviews. We do sort of rundowns on various political and sort of anything having to do with the social sciences. We'll do philosophy. We do civics, stuff like that. We also have some deconversion stories. We had on just a short while back Richard Carrier and Osmandius on on philosophy of religion, and we're actually going to have next week. We're going to have Floyd FP on for a 2-hour show on what you guys already actually covered was the fraud of Daniel. Most of what I learned from either Floyd FP or, of course, Jim Majors, who is a good guy. But anyways, so yeah, come on in and check us out. We also do news, breaking news, and rundowns of news. And I think tomorrow we're going to be doing, Associated Press is now calling this a war, the fourth war between Hamas and Israel going on right now, which most people are reasonably unaware of. I don't think the U.S. is covering it very much, so we're going to do a deep dive into that and try to get a little caught up because I've been under the weather with the shot thing. But that's it. That's my show. And thank you very much for having me, and it was a blast as always. So thank you.
Thanks, Nick.
Thank you so very much, Nick. And yeah, I'm gonna make the same joke I make that is as unpolitical with such a political joke. It doesn't matter if you're on the side of the Israeli or Palestinians. Can we all just agree religion sucks? And with that, I'm going to go over to Pat. We have been Skeptic Bible studying Lost and Found, moving our way into Leviticus. I hope you had a good time. Do you have, can people find you? And what are your final thoughts for the night? As my brain just scrambled.
That's fine. So I have a blog, Discovering Ancient History at WordPress, for those that are interested. And I write some kind of short, less scholarly stuff on there. But I also, for anybody who wants to take any classes I teach, currently many of the classes at Tacoma Community College are online. We teach both continuing ed and credit courses are available. So if anyone wants to check out Tacoma Community College, go to their continuing ed page and you'll see some of the classes I offer there. And they're short, typically introductory type courses. And I just want to say thanks for having me on once again. It's been fabulous. And religion doesn't suck. It's what people do in the name of religion that sucks. Because I like studying religion.
That is true.
Just remember, it's all a myth. So thanks for having me on.
Study the history of it. Yeah.
Thank you so very much, Matt. And I'm very much, because the writing sign, I'm addicted to the megalomyth. I love mythic structure. I think it's the story.
That's not a good sign.
Did we lose her?
I didn't touch anything. I did not touch anything.
Yeah, her browser just crashed. I thought it was my internet. She'll be right back on, guys. Amaretto, did you want to say an outro while we're waiting for Amy to get back?
No, yeah. Amy just texted me. She said she blue screened.
Okay, she'll be right back.
Yeah, she will be. Sure. I mean, I'm on Twitter at Amaretto Kitten. Most of my stuff is, I'm more socio-political. I'm your social justice rogue. But, I think it's definitely, as I was saying earlier, I did not realize like animal sacrifice was as prominent in the Bible as what it was. And
kind of all over.
A little bit. I don't know. It kind of squicks me out. I mean, not as much as Lot and his daughters, because obviously, I mean, if, we're talking on scale, that's hella worse. I don't know. I can't imagine sacrificing animals and stuff like that so often. And maybe it's just me being an American, a privileged American. But yeah, I did not realize that was covered in the book of Leviticus. I have to admit. Interesting things we've been covering tonight, I should say.
So much coverage too, not just one entry, or it's just all over the place, over and over again.
I'm kind of surprised too. Leviticus is as long as what it was, because a lot of us in the more left wing, we when we bring up Leviticus, we bring up a very small snippet of actually what's in the whole entire book, from what I'm seeing. So, because you have people that talk about corporate wealth, corporations in the U.S. are evil and they're stealing our money. But you don't hear people pulling up the whole, if someone steals something from somebody else, you pay them that plus 20%. It's we use a very small snippet, a very narrow portion of Leviticus. And I don't know, I think maybe for a lot of us on the left wing who are theists, even it's stuff like this probably needs to be a little bit more common, because how can we really, advocate, champion our causes when we're using we're using a very narrow window, and we don't really understand the context or the material, I feel like. we're pulling out like, certain verses and that's it, but we don't know the whole book that those verses are in context to. So I don't know. I think it's
Cafeteria Christians.
Yeah, but I feel like that's not even cafeteria Christians. I feel it's like, it's almost like everybody is trying to like gotcha on everybody else when you're talking about like on Twitter and on other, forums where there's exchange of ideas and discussions like this. Like I've even seen, some of this stuff on places you're not really thinking of, for decent discussion, like, 4chan. But this happens a lot, Reddit, Twitter. Everybody's trying to like get a point on somebody else and then have everybody see it. It's like they want their time in the spotlight. So
15 minutes of fame.
Thank you so very much. And Amaretto, did you get your closer? If not, that was the closer?
You're good.
Good.
We covered for you.
Thank you so very much. And then that's all that's left is James. James, help us land the plane. We have been Skeptic Bible studying on Lost and Found.
Leviticusing our butts off for like almost over 3 hours now. It has been a blast as always, getting this wisdom from this book. The meat offerings, the peace offerings, the wave offerings, the heave offerings. It's all good. It's all holy. It all comes from God. And it's really fun to learn about it. Yeah, that's the right word. Learn. So I just want to thank everybody for coming on, being a part of it. I had some great discussions. Thank you, Amaretto, our in-house social justice rogue. Got Pat, our Bible scholar almost, and Nick, who knows lots of stuff about almost everything. If we can just get him off this flat earth kick, then he'll be good.
Those damn flat earthers.
Yeah.
What can I say? Sometimes fish in a barrel is fun.
The world's round, Nick. Come on, man.
Well, you want me to get off it? Where am I going to go? If it's round, if it's flat, where am I going to go? Check and mate, motherfucker.
Checkmate, atheist.
What? Nick, I can't hear you.
You got me to look. You got me to look. I do not like him. I do not like him.
That's okay. I think that's what her name is.
I like everybody.
Listen, why do you think my name is literally Bite Me James tonight?
That is her name. And okay.
I don't bite. Amy bites. I don't bite.
Oh, but only
Amy
if you're into
Amy
that.
does not bite.
I think that's an affirmative on that.
And I hope you all had a fun time on this episode of Skeptic Bible Study Lost and Found, where God told Moses what to do if a neighbor finds something we own and lies about it. And we gave 2 more full scoops of offerings to the big G-Man himself.
What if I lose my mind?
I think that's a good song. I want my co-host.
Okay.
How do you know you haven't?
I don't know. How do you know we're not brains and bats? Checkmate.
Checkmate.
Dildo
atheist.
drop.
I want to thank my co-host James W. with our guests Amaretto, Pat, and Nick, along with all the lovely people in chat and our awesome mods who make the stream so great. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that all button icon so you can be part of our live streams for YouTube, Twitch, or Facebook. And if you'd like to help us make more fun content, feel free to check out our Patreon at patreon.com/Amy Newman. I'm Amy Newman, and we will see you all on the next episode of Skeptic Ball Z.
Do it to me. End it.